So this is going to be saved as part of the video because I'm too lazy to go back and edit anything out. So hi, everyone. Hi, look at the lazy piece of shit who's done a podcast for 10 years and doesn't edit his own videos. I hope you like it. We're going to do a comedy podcast called Papa's Basement. Me, John Papa Giorgio, Joe Gagliardi over there, and Michael Johnson over there. Everyone's on their phones because it's 2019, and that's how we live. We're going to play an intro song, and then the episode's going to start. So
Kaboom.
Enjoy.
Squadoosh.
I'll bring it down early, always a sign of cocky confidence, perhaps arrogance. But when I bring down that intro song early, it says, I think we're going to have magic. And if it blows up in my face, just shove it up my fat butt.
Just shove it up.
Just
Shove it up.
Put it right in my keister. Everyone, it's Papa's Basement. I'm your host, John Papa Giorgio. If you're listening to this, you already know what the show's about, but it's a comedy show. We just talk about whatever makes us laugh, and then that's it. There's no overriding theme. I know that podcasts are completely different from radio broadcasts. I just refuse to acknowledge that. I walk on the mic like I'm Greaseman in '94. That's before he said the horrible race stuff, right?
No, that's way after.
Oh, gosh.
So you're
I'm making jokes about James Byrd, Lauryn Hill type things.
Yeah,
that's not good. That's not good at all.
My wife was a huge fan of the Greaseman back in the day.
Oh, but only after he said those things, right?
I don't know. I feel like we're gonna edit that out.
No.
Oh wait, it's live. Whoops.
Yeah. No, your wife was like, I just don't get his hijinks. And then he said, yeah, maybe we'll kill one a week till we get the whole week off gobbledygook. And she was like, that man makes sense now. I get comedy.
That was like elementary school for me.
Yeah, it was a long time ago. I actually do not remember the controversy.
That's why you doing it in '94.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's like a well-seasoned racist by then.
No,
That's
it was like late
terrible.
90s.
That's
Greaseman
what you
became a
are.
racist.
Nope.
Well, okay, he became probably racist a long time ago, but that's when like his controversy was. He had two different incidents, if I recall.
Yeah.
The one was Lauryn Hill. I believe she had dropped the miseducation of Lauryn Hill. That's what the kids call it. By the way, I'm on air with Joe Gagliardi and Michael Johnson. There you go. Those are intros. So he dropped the miseducation of Lauryn Hill, and I guess that was
he dropped
it. Yeah, he was Lauryn Hill. No, I guess she won some Grammys or something, and he had, I'm guessing, a news segment and played it and went like, yeah, no wonder we drag him behind pickup trucks.
Whoa, good God.
Yeah, and then I believe it was MLK Day. Yeah. This was a separate incident. And they were talking about getting Monday off. He's like, nah, why don't we kill 4 more of them? Get the whole week. Gobbledy, gobble-goo.
Oh, my God.
I can't believe this guy started at the same place as Don Imus.
Don Imus. Oh, my God. There's another dumbbell. Good Lord.
I mean, I get it. You say really, as we've heard a million DJs defend it, like you say dumb things in the heat of the moment. You're talking stream of consciousness for 4 hours, but yeah, didn't age well.
No,
didn't.
It didn't even for the time that he said it.
No, yeah. By the time it got from his mouth to the mic, it aged really poorly.
Died.
What happened?
Straight up natural death, man. It aged to the point of like cremation.
I thought you were hitting me with the Greaseman died. And I was like, hey, God,
is it still working?
No, Greaseman's last gig was at a pay-for-play radio station. That was my very first radio gig.
Oh, really?
Like Greaseman would come in every Saturday with tapes, and then we would broadcast.
Pay for play?
Yes, he paid to have an on-air shift to say he was still on air.
Oh my God.
And it was out of an AM business radio station, DMV 700 AM.
What was he like?
I never met him. He paid to have his name on the marquee. So like when I looked at the radio station, it was like
there's no
DMV
Greaseman podcast.
There probably is. I know he's still like rich as all hell because I follow him on Facebook. Just you ever have people?
You ever just want to follow racists?
Yeah. Well,
who else do you follow?
Yeah, don't you? Well, I don't know, Milo Yiannopoulos. Nothing crazy. Right. No. You want to stay on the cutting edge of racism. You're like, who are we hating this week? Right. Are we, like the Taiwanese get it this time? But he will occasionally, going back to what I was going to say before, people just pop up on your Facebook feed and you're like, oh, we have like 4 mutual friends. What the hell? Like I had Matt Walsh from UCB.
He was friends with the Grease Man.
Yes.
Maybe not for long.
He actually wrote those lines for him.
Right.
That's
but
terrible.
He popped up on my like you might know feed. I'm like, hell yeah, I know Matt Walsh. And so I'll just like add these people, add
Right.
friend. And once in a while it happens. Like
The Grease Man pops up again.
yeah. And I'm like, yeah.
What are you up to?
What was his actual does anybody know his actual name?
Doug Tract.
Oh, there you go.
Doug
I don't think I
Tract.
ever knew his
Doug
actual name.
Tract.
That wasn't his real name.
Doug
was it?
Tract. Tracht, I believe.
Oh my god. That's terrible.
Doug Tract.
What?
Doug Tract.
I
just keep saying
retract
it.
that statement.
I'll keep
Doug
saying it till you get it.
Tract.
Doug
God.
Tract.
I mean, they're saying something dumb, and then there's like, I mean, that was like a not
like-
well thought out, but it's like that was he had a plan there. And that was like a multi-day
he-
operation. That's
He
terrible.
wrote
man.
that
It's
in
like,
the crapper, like the
good
break
God.
before, and was like, I'm gonna kill with it.
oh
Ew.
my god,
It's like,
that's not a slip of the tongue. That's a slip of the brain.
oh,
I'm gonna let that sit there. Sorry. What's up, Joe? I can't see you over the
I can't see
monitor.
you, man. I can't see you over the monitor. I can just see your curly Greek locks
You can see my naps.
sticking up. Your salt. And
You can
pepper.
see my nappy-headed hoe hair.
Oh god.
What?
A
We're
co-
doing news.
A
We're doing news.
coworker of mine said that used that exact phrase.
what?
She said something about because
Your
she's
secretary.
her father
Yvonne Hitler?
her father was African American and her mother's Indian.
Okay.
And so she said something today about something about her dad leaving her nappy roots or something, and that there was one time when her hair was straight, she felt like the wind through her hair or something, and I just couldn't. All I could relate was that my favorite rap group in the late '90s was Nappy Roots. That was all I you know.
You mean Indian as far as like Asia?
Red
Yes,
dot or
yes.
feather? He's asking.
No,
Right.
Asian, yeah.
And
I-
she doesn't like her black heritage.
Well, no, it's not that. It's just she was saying I haven't heard that phrase in a while, other than the rap group from the Nappy Roots in the
well,
late
she does
'90s,
have
and then of course the thing Imus said. Didn't Imus say something about
nappy headed?
yeah,
Nappy-headed
Nappy-headed, right? And he was
hoes.
talking about a basketball team,
I
or like
believe
the
the
Rutgers basketball
Rutgers
team or something.
women's team.
Absolutely terrible. No, so the only like 3 times in my life I've heard that phrase, other than the rap group, was Don Imus today, earlier today with my
I
coworker.
completed
and
the
just now.
Trinity.
You completed the Trinity, yeah,
Wow,
seemingly
okay.
so.
Was she having a bad hair day?
No, she's. I mean, she might be listening right now. She's always got nice hair. I don't know. I was like, your hair is lovely. I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah, there's a lot of weird
I'm-
self-loathing
she-
stuff.
Why are we
going
asking
on
the
there.
bald guy about hair? I'm not really the authority to like,
Is
to
she-
comment on
Is
this.
she stunningly beautiful?
I mean, I'm a happily married man,
She's
Michael. What do you want me to
possibly
say?
one.
Well,
You know,
he's just
she's-
asking, like, would you have sex with her behind your wife's back at work? Just hypothetically
That's
speaking.
absolutely terrible.
Okay,
absolutely
just throwing
terrible.
that out there. I mean,
My God.
that's the standard of
all
beauty
the
we're
things,
talking about.
Of all the things, John, at
What if-
work,
What
God,
if
no, you get a hotel room like an adult. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Like, geez, man.
What if
Come on.
your wife said you can have sex with one of your coworkers?
Oh, that's gonna have to be a hard pass. I feel like you can't. I mean, so look, before I got together with my wife, we were coworkers, and the reason we never got together was because we were coworkers.
Uh-huh.
Really?
And then when I left that job, we decided to bump uglies, and the rest, as they say, is history.
Was
So-
there tension while you guys worked together?
There was a tension. Yeah, we were both.
Did you guys talk about it?
We didn't really talk. We didn't talk about it until the end, and then it kind of became this like we both knew that we were into each other, and we were both dating other people that were like very like early relationships that were mostly
Right.
physical, but we weren't happy. And so one day I literally said to her like, "Well, what if we hooked up?"
Mm.
And she was like, "Well, sure." And so we
Well,
hooked
this
up.
is
It was-
your wife works for the government, right?
a government,
A government,
yeah,
a county,
a government entity.
and that's what you did.
Well, no. So we were both independent contractors at the time, working for a county government. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
and we were both business process analysts, which
So-
is as exciting as it sounds.
Did you have hair back then?
I did not.
You didn't. Okay.
not.
Were you like sexier back then? Like, I'm just trying to sex this up.
I
for me.
mean,
I'm trying to get
sexier
shoved
is a
up.
relative term.
I'm trying to get
I mean,
mine.
if you're into bellies, this
Did
is
you
as
not
sexy
have
as
the
it
belly
gets right
back
here.
then?
It was in its infancy.
Did you look like Bill Dauterive back when he was the Bildos?
I don't know who that is.
Okay.
Bill Dauterive.
I'm sorry you don't watch King of the
Hmm.
Hill. I'm sorry you're a peasant. I'm sorry that Mike
Oh.
Judge is too good for you.
Nice. King of the
Okay.
Hill. That's a great reference.
Thank you. I'm really cool
Nice.
with what's going down in 97. I got
Yeah.
the Grease Man and King of the Hill.
And for those of you,
Let's talk about lit.
For those
Keeping
of
it
you
current.
going to family reunions this summer, just remember, sexy is a relative term.
I'm just saying.
Okay, there's the door.
I sat on that pun for almost a minute.
As long as the Grease Man sat on my line.
I mean, do you disagree? Do you quarrel with that, sir?
What? That sexy is
But that sexy is relative? Yeah.
You mean as far as like one person is sexy and then you find another person not sexy?
Well, like for example, so do you feel like you have a nice shirt, you got a nice polo shirt on, it's a non-standard pastel color, I would say. So you put some effort into that, right? Like you didn't just stumble across that in a Kmart, right? So did you buy that shirt with the intention of catching the lady's eyes?
I bought it because I needed some summer work shirts.
But no consideration.
But I also, you know what, I when I do shop, especially where I go, which is like, I mean, it's not like outrageously expensive, but some of it can add up when you need a whole bunch of stuff. So I go into the dressing room, and most of the time I'm like, it has to be an A+. It has to be as soon as you put it on, you're like, yeah.
So it's like an 80s montage,
Nice.
and someone's there like shaking their head at your first 5 looks. And then finally Andrew McCarthy's like, yeah, when you're wearing your teal shirt.
Right.
Okay.
Nice. With along about like 5 others.
Yes. Okay.
Nice.
Cool.
Yeah.
But so like if you were going to go on a date with a woman, you wouldn't show up in what I'm wearing, for example.
I might ask you if I could borrow your clothes.
You sure? Well, according to Papa Giorgio, I was wearing a banana hammock yesterday at improv class.
You were wearing an incredibly, I don't know if it was because your thighs are thicker or whatever, but yeah, your fabric stretched like real taut.
Right across the front, the nether realm. You know what I mean? Right across the front.
Well, it depends on what the date is, because the last time I did this podcast, I went on a date, and I think I just went in what I wore for work.
Were those two things related? Was she listening and she was just so enthralled she was waiting for you and you're okay?
Like your dick and balls, I had to look this up to confirm it. Your dick and balls were peeking through the fabric like the face on the cover of the movie The Frighteners. Like you'll Google it. You'll Google it.
The Frighteners.
The Frighteners. Just Google The Frighteners. Just look up The Frighteners.
Oh, okay. I see. His dick and balls were blasting through that way.
Yeah, like it's just like this outline. Like I could see the lip.
Like you were making a what is it? A paper mache cast.
Yeah, like imagine
cast.
It was like bas relief.
Like the very first time Spider-Man makes his mask, and it's just like he pulls like a nylon over his face. Right. Like that's how visible Joe's dick and balls were.
Where was this last night?
This is at the Unified Scene Theater.
Were you wearing like bicycle shorts?
I was wearing plaid. I was wearing plaid shorts, non-cargo shorts.
That plaid would be like busy enough to
it didn't distract. No, it didn't. Like, I mean, if
it distracted you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
no. God, I mean, you threw a tennis ball right at my nuts.
Yeah, I had to destroy what I loved the most in life. Like Fight Club when he's like, I saw something beautiful and I had to make it ugly. That's how I felt about your dick, and that's why I threw a tennis ball at it.
He says at one point out loud in the middle of class, in the middle of the thing, he's like, "That's Joe's shorts are too revealing." And he's like sat down in shame, and I was like, "What the fuck?"
You sat down in shame, but
he sat down in shame, and I was like, "Oh, I didn't even." I was like pressing it in.
No, like I was like,
at that point, everybody looks at your dick, right?
I was trying to set him up exactly, but no, I was like a Mormon boss who had like a slut secretary and a short skirt. I was like, put on a towel, for the rest of the work day, and then don't dress like this again.
Just a towel,
just a towel,
put a towel around your filthy chicken.
How was the last? Was it? This is the last class.
How
was the class itself? What did you guys work on?
We were just doing Herald Forum. So those that aren't in the know, we're all of us involved with the Unified Scene Theater, an improv theater run by our buddy Sean Westfall, and it's closing at the end of the month. And Joe and I, part of its very last class. So yeah, we did this improv forum called the Herald, listeners.
The Herald.
We just did the Herald over and over and over, and the entire time I was staring at that meaty kielbasa and meatball setup this half Polak, half Italian's got.
How was the set that you guys did?
It was all golden. I mean, it's each more brilliant than the last. I don't know how to review myself. It wasn't horrible.
Wait, John and I did a scene. And
like we're doing right now.
We were clowns putting on makeup. And one clown's name, it was from the rant. In somebody's rant, they said, when I was a kid, we had a clown named, what was it, like Hershey's or something? Or,
that was me.
Or Nestle?
No. My old gym teacher.
Right. They had like a real live clown?
Well, his gym teacher, apparently.
My gym teacher in Mr. Winterstein. God, was it Winterstein? Okay, I think it was Winterstein. Mr. Winterstein.
So kids would come over and to like play in your room. And you're like, just don't worry, that's Mr. Winterstein.
No, he like we had this this young kind of virile, but he was like ethnic looking. Like
So
imagine
he was like a Soviet gymnast.
yeah, imagine like one of the warriors, but like not wearing a vest, like wearing gym teacher clothes. And during
Wait, Warriors like the basketball team or Warriors like
The movie.
like come out and play. Like I don't
Oh.
make references from past 2000. Like so yes, the Warriors. So he's got this afro and these succulent lips and these swarthy skin. He one time
Swarthy.
was trying to teach us juggling and was just like batting it out of the park. And I was like, holy hell, how does Mr. What is oh god, I think it was Winterstein, but I don't want to say
Was his clown name like Chuckleface?
it was Bosco.
Bosco?
Long
That's
story
what it is.
short, one of the kids turns to me. He's like, "Well, you know, he moonlights as a clown, right? He's a clown named Bosco."
And
so-
the kid's standing next to you like a detective.
Yeah, pretty like just bringing it. Like, how would this kid in any way know other than a story? Like, if this were true, this kid would have only known this because Bosco came to his goddamn
Yeah,
birthday.
or someone else's.
Yeah, and we would have heard the story in full, but instead, it's just like it was almost like this kindergarten version of like our teacher does porn. You know, it was like our gym teacher's a clown. Like we couldn't take him seriously. He's a damn gym teacher. Like he's already just chilling. And
Is he
yeah.
a clown, like, and then he takes the makeup off just to teach, or is he a teacher that becomes a clown?
I don't. Yeah, like where does the locksmith end and the podcaster begin? I don't know. Like yeah. I mean, he was like a diesel dude though. Like he took off that makeup to eat that kid's mom's puss at the party. You know, like that's he was.
Wait,
I don't-
where did
Well, I
that
feel like-
story
what?
start?
No,
There
I'm
was
I'm just saying. Like
What?
I don't know why.
I know he's a clown because
Yeah.
he ate my mom's pussy at my birthday
That's
party.
terrible. God.
And that's why I
would
really
be-
hate him. I have nothing
Oh
against
my
clowns
God.
deep down. Nothing. No, it was weird. Even as a
Wait, back up
kid,
to your birthday.
even as a
Dude,
kid,
makeup everywhere.
we had this weird pecking order for the teachers, and we were like, "You gym teachers are the nappy-headed hoes of the teacher hierarchy."
Come on.
Wow.
Like,
That's
we
four
just-
times now I've heard that. Four times.
Yeah, we look down upon them, man.
So Mr. Bosco,
Mr. Bosco, yeah.
what did it get out that he was a clown?
Well, we all told it to each other. Like it got out. Yeah, the same way you're like, hey, the new kids on the block barfed and there's 7 kinds of cum in the barf. You know, like it
What in the just
School did you go to?
Can we get back to the so we were playing clowns because in the rant he talked about Bosco the clown.
yeah.
And so I jumped in and said, hi, something like I'm Ovaltine the clown. And we were putting on makeup. And as the Herald progresses through its 3 scenes, the 3rd scene, we were just angrily putting on makeup. And then it turns out at the end we were in love. So, good times with clowns in the in the final.
Is there anything less magnetic than describing an improv
An
scene?
improv scene.
I was just thinking you lost half your audience.
It's just absolutely
down-
that's as bad
Down
as
to
it gets.
1.
Oh,
We're down to
God.
1.
We were in the first scene of the Herald.
Then the rant, which was informed by a tale of a gym teacher clown.
Hey man, it was your it was your rant. It was your story. I was just
Yeah,
telling you
I
this
mean, I
was-
also took a hell of a crap 20 minutes ago, but I'm not bringing
the
that
thing
up.
is like I could really go into detail.
Of course, we all could.
like
We all have this
deconstructing that.
this creepy little side life of ours
Yeah.
in the improv.
it is a
thing.
weird thing.
but-
It is a weird bunch of
But we
squirrels.
are being sensitive to the 4 or 5 people that are tuning.
Yeah,
in.
absolutely. No, I
well,
mean,
that had to previously.
for God's sake, you want to crack some hentai nuts? You want to get into the weeds on the hentai? We can do that too. We all got weird little things we're into, but no,
That is true.
I'd like to go back to your elementary school. And
Yeah, there it is. I,
deconstruct that.
sure. What do you like? There
Well, I
was
mean,
a
kids are vomiting cum, and
no. I
also-
said the new kids on the block is in the band, not new kids to school.
I was like, I thought you had something.
No. Like if kids were vomiting cum in class, like I would like to
I
think
thought
the
you-
authorities would step
I
in.
thought you had a neighbor, a new kid that barfed at the bus stop, and you guys.
I don't know what to do, man. The phrases you think you'll never hear in your life. know?
That's we
And
had-
then the
I mean-
reveal that the clown was actually the gym teacher was actually a clown because of what maneuver he pulled at the kid's birthday.
Well,
party.
wait. We have to establish: is he a gym teacher that's a clown, or is he a clown that's a gym teacher? I mean, what is he? What is his essence of Mr. Whitestein Roscoe and
Winterstein.
everything was Winterstein.
Yeah.
Was he a like an immigrant?
He looked like, if I told you Mr. Winterstein was
He had
there,
those like wide set Eastern European eyes.
very much so. Yeah. Like just hands that should have been holding a meat cleaver and making
Right.
sausage on the Lower East Side. But instead, he was a gym teacher in Chantilly, Virginia.
We can either climb rope or you watch me juggle.
What do you kids do for entertainment in the country?
Who has birthday coming up?
May I eat mother's pulse?
Oh god.
Yeah, no, like we like mocked this dude for being a young guy who was a gym teacher, but looking back, like he must have banged mad ass. Like I don't think he was married.
Maybe he was a clown because
Because
he has all this child support payments, he has to make.
Oh, and he wanted that sweet clown money. We all
Oh,
know
no, he's like, I got 5 illegitimate children. I got 5
from the
separate-"
clown
Oh,
circuit.
He's like, I gotta make money.
It's like
any way
the-
I know how.
Yeah, it's like the drug game. Like it's a trap. Like you can't get out. The same thing with
And
birthday clowning.
Then he starts
for
pimping,
child support money.
pimping other clowns, and pretty soon he is.
Yeah, they're just
They-
impregnating every mom.
And he's got a bottom clown. that
Like
that is the clown that
Yeah,
he
like-
loves the most.
10 years later, the entire class of 97 like all looks alike and can juggle like champs. That's just
What, so wait. His grand scheme, aren't people usually like, my wife is terrified of clowns? I'm pretty
Oh,
sure.
I-
I think just about
My
everybody I know. is.
grandmother collected paintings of clowns.
Really?
That was
with
a thing
clowns.
back
like
then,
the
10
tacky
years ago.
black velvet.
Anything that was a clown. Well, it was like clowns, ducks, grandfather clocks. Probably
Is this because she was like
Was it-
hung up on the banging that Mr. Winterstein gave her?
Was it? Wait.
Probably.
Was it also newspapers and old wrappers and pencils and
yeah,
other
I like
things
the
that-
newspaper, the Clown Times.
that I believe the term is hoarding.
Well, no,
He's like grandfather
actually,
clocks, clown paintings, duck paintings.
It was,
Use
it was
diapers.
actually a pretty
Board
neat,
games,
neat
original Game
house.
Boys.
It was just
Yeah.
Just clown themes.
the
Clown-
the
clown
most
and duck tape.
disturbing painting though was owned by my other grandmother, who had a painting, a very detailed painting of Custard's Last Stand.
Okay.
Custards.
Custards?
Was he a
Oh.
Boston cream pie?
Yes. What did I say? Custard?
Custard.
Is it
What is it?
Custer?
Is
It's
there an
Custer,
S?
if I may,
Is
as a
it
resident
Custer?
military historian. It's Custer. It's
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
He was not, in fact, a sweet,
I thought
creamy
he got
Jello of sorts
he got
that
custard.
generally
though.
comes out of the
Yeah.
mouth.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. It was Custard's Last Stand.
But that's a great Ben and Jerry's name, Custard's Last Stand.
Yeah?
I love that.
Well, you know what?
Limited edition flavor.
This
yeah.
painting had multiple images of guys getting scalped,
Really?
and then it had
God.
Custer like in the middle, about to be taken down. Like they were just being
Like
overwhelmed.
Willem Dafoe at Platoon, like just hands to the sky.
And one of the dreams that I can remember having as a child, I woke up at her house and I saw that painting, and there were like guys, like the painting was like alive within it. I can still
No.
remember it.
Like the end of Devil's Advocate.
It was just like people
The
were like
lost
getting
souls.
scalped, and you saw horses like running, and you heard
Uh-huh.
I like heard it and saw it, and I just remember I was frozen in my bed.
What do you? So
God, kids are stupid.
I just, if I may, I don't know that it would be possible to shave your head into the glorious skin tight do that I rock now. But
Sure.
back then, what do you think?
They would-
Because
they-
what would
they
they have
would've
done? They
just-
just hit me in the head with
They
a
would
tomahawk.
just,
and that was
they
it?
would have just peeled back your skin,
Peeled back the
and
skin, and
grab
that
your
was it.
brain.
Well, there's
Yeah,
good-
like
good
no,
luck.
they
It's-
would have taken your scalp and used that as like a fleshlight.
That would be funny though, to see like everyone's getting scalped, and then they get to your head and they're like, I don't know what to do. What do we do? I don't know.
They would have just been laughing with each other. Like
Well, no, there was no way you could have had.
just
we-
let them go.
we killed him for this. And they're just chuckling.
It's
Maybe
like,
they
it's like
would
a
do
brain the size of a peanut.
what's the guy, the Leonardo DiCaprio movie?
Oh yeah, when he
They-
gets eaten by the
them-
bear.
Well,
Oh, Gilbert Grape.
Doesn't it start out where they like let him go, like start running, like he's naked? I think that's part of the story. Maybe I don't know if it's in the
Oh.
movie or not, but in the story of the guy that he depicts,
Yeah, I know the flick you're talking about. I don't remember the name.
but he gets captured by Indians, and part of the game is that they let him like have like a half-mile start, and then they all take after him,
Mhm.
and he like escaped.
Oh,
Egg on
maybe-
their face.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't. It was. I'm trying to remember anything other than him getting gored by that bear, which was horrific.
I
You
still
remember that
haven't
scene?
seen it. I've heard
Oh
that was a
my
great scene.
God,
yeah.
it
What's
was
it called
horrible.
again?
It was like a one-word name. It was like Escape or
Basketball
no,
Diaries,
I think it begins
Eden
with
or
a-
something.
Begins with an I.
The Island.
Yeah.
Incubus. No.
Inception.
Incognito.
There you go.
There it is.
We got it covered, man.
No, what is it?
It was just called Bear.
Did you ever see Grizzly with the story of
The Grizzly Man.
The Grizzly Man.
I think I saw
Yeah.
Grizzly Man. Yeah.
I had the
And
Grizzly Man.
Werner Herzog, he destroys the only like audio or video of the
Yeah.
guy actually getting eaten.
Yeah.
Oh,
The guy's camera was rolling with the lens
And
cap
his-
on while he was getting eaten alive by a bear. And
his
apparently it was like a
girlfriend was there.
10-minute No, I think his girlfriend was mortally wounded at the time, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, I think she tried to do something, but yeah, well, I think they were both eaten.
I'm fairly certain they were both killed. I mean, it was like really gnarly, man. Like
Yeah.
apparently you can hear these two like for I don't
He
even
was
know
like,
7 or 8 minutes or something.
Nobody
like-
should ever listen to this.
Oh yeah, it's horrific, man. Just
I have to go teach gym class.
ugh.
wow. We're going to break with this.
Ugh. That movie
Yeah.
that movie was a little bit nuts though. I mean, if you haven't seen Grizzly Man,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, I laughed through a great deal of it until he gets eaten, and then it was like, oh, that's sad.
I guess I haven't seen it because I definitely have not seen a movie where a guy
reminds
gets
me- He's a
eaten by
bizarre-
bear.
He
He's a bizarre
reminded me of
guy.
the guy. Do you remember the guy that did the Joseph Kony campaign that was then found like naked on a corner
Yeah,
like a few years ago?
Sure.
Do you remember that guy?
it's an obscure.
Yeah,
reference.
I
He was
do,
like
actually.
this blonde-haired, all-American looking, super positive,
Yeah.
super energy
It was
guy.
it was Billy Zabka from Karate
Right.
Kid.
It might as well. That was the Grizzly Man. He had like the same personality. He was so
Super positive.
well. He's just
Well,
super
Do you ever feel like it's awesome?
extroverted.
when
When
you-
you say, you don't think so?
I don't know that he was, but he was extroverted with bears. I don't know that he was like extra. I mean, I think if I'm not mistaken, he talks in the movie about how much he like hates other humans because
But I think
I'm
in
sure he was
his-
relentlessly mocked for his
But I
a
think
number
in-
of things.
I can't remember what his former life was, but I think he was. Yeah, I mean, I think by
Tax-
that time,
Tax attorney.
probably.
Yeah.
Hey, you need your taxes done?
He was a school marm.
Like,
Yeah.
He no, but yeah, he was extroverted with bears.
It was like,
I
oh, he-
love that, like, as a fearful, timid little pussy boy. Like, I love when someone who lives this fearless life, like, it ultimately does blow up in their face.
You should watch Into the Wild then, or read the book.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh god, is that the dummy who dies on the bus like 18 feet from a road?
I love the quote in that movie where he says something about
I'm
like,
so hungry. that's my favorite quote from that
I'm
book.
I'm
Is that is he starved to death? How does he die?
Well,
he does.
He ends up eating berries that are poison.
Yeah, I thought he,
and
like-
part of what the toxin what does it make him more hungry to eat, or like he can't. At some point, it was like even if he were to eat, he'd die anyway.
Oh
So,
man,
I
that's
can't-
terrible.
I know that he was eating something like you were saying that had like nutritional zero content or like actively anti-nutritional, or it was like moldy or some crap, so it was like poisoning him.
Yeah.
And he wound up dying. This guy that like because I lived through the 2000s, this dude was quoted by every pseudo intellectual
Christopher
dude.
Canlis. Christopher Chandler.
I don't remember the name. I remember the movie. I remember he lived in that
Christopher
bus.
Candless.
There was like a husk of a.
I
I
just-
love the quote is what true happiness is only like apparent when it's shared. I think as he was dying.
This is
Was he like staring at other people eating in front of him? And
no, I think
muttering
this
that,
was
or-
one of his last realizations. Where he was dying.
Oh, okay. I
Yeah.
just
Well, you were saying that you admire people that live, by their code, and he's
no.
somebody
I
that-
like it when they
he-
die though.
Oh, you do.
Yeah, like I because I do nothing with my life.
Oh,
So these people who live this big bold life, like I like it when they finally die
oh,
because I get to be like, hey, that guy had this great life, but enjoy your mold berries. Like my fat ass is still alive eating crunch berries. Like
So it's like an angry thing.
yeah, it's all an angry
It's
thing,
all based
Joseph.
in- yeah, it's
yeah,
all
I
angry.
know.
projection.
Yeah. And I feel like we need to go back to the whatever you called yourself, like a sniveling pussy or something you said.
Sure, whatever. Yeah.
Except when there's a maniac in DC threatening someone who's costing the mafia money, and then you're Mr. Big Pants.
Oh yeah,
know?
yeah.
Were
You were there
you
for
were-
that, weren't you?
No, but you told me about it. I don't think you were there for your retelling.
Were
you?
you?
I don't remember.
Yeah. Well, long story
I
short,
think-
no, the guy that we had just all of us finished a show at the DuPont Underground in
Yeah.
the DuPont Circle, the famous gay district of DC, because it's DC and everything's small. That DuPont Circle's literally like a 500-foot circle, and that's our gay district. So we were there, and some crazy guy walked up to us and was screaming that we were gay and
Making all
fags,
kinds of threats,
and, yeah,
and
like,
violent
I'll kill you. And
insults, and
I just
hard.
started screaming back at him. I don't know why.
Yeah,
Papa Giorgio.
I heard he blew a fuse.
Papa Giorgio.
Yeah.
He basically like it was sort of like, okay, so the guy comes running up to our group and he's like, you blah blah blah, you F words are costing the mom. It's just nonsense, like violent nonsense.
Real gibberish.
So we're all standing there letting this guy just kind of burn himself out. And every time he gets done talking and starts to walk away, Papa Giorgio from the middle of the crowd's like, well, fuck you too, man. and then the guy turns around, he's like, who the fuck said that? Papa Giorgio's like, right?
I was like,
oh my God.
That's like, I
Unbelievable.
can remember being in college, drunk one night at a party, and this guy, I don't know what it was, but I kept looking at him just for whatever reason. Nothing.
She was gorgeous.
Well, no, I knew him, and he loses his mind because he's like, he won't stop looking at me, and I just keep looking at him going, what? And they're like, Johnson, just stop looking at him. And I'm like, what? I'm just looking, and like, I'm just, and I just kept
He had a nice ass
just
cut.
poking.
You love to do that, man. I
What?
remember.
Poking?
Yeah, you are a hell of an agitator.
When?
We were filming a couple weeks ago trying to make a comedy sketch
Oh yeah.
at the famed Bunnyman Bridge.
Well, that felt deserved.
And a couple citizens from the area drove up and were like, what are you doing here? You're trespassing.
You guys can't be here parking on the side of the road.
And you just started screaming like, are you a Scientologist?
I didn't scream. I just like I was like, I just kept asking him if he was a Scientologist.
Yeah, and you
He was
were
like-
then
I was like,
it's-
are you gonna report us? Are you taping us?
Were you actually at the Bunnyman Bridge?
yeah.
That's in like Lynchburg or something, right? Virginia?
Nah,
No,
it's
it's
like Clifton.
Fairfax County.
Yeah.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
Wow. Did you see the Bunnyman?
Yeah,
It
he
was
came
broad
out.
daylight. It was like on a
He mouth
Sunday.
effed all of us. It was great. I swallowed.
Isn't that always back to that? Isn't it? And then did you throw it up?
No. No.
Always.
That's so offensive.
Isn't the Bunnyman? Isn't that only like on Halloween night or something that people?
I don't know,
It's
man.
like only
Whatever.
one night of the year that.
BS gibberish.
some
It's just
other-
some stupid bridge. Yeah, look at that Bunnyman Bridge. I ain't gonna explain it. There's Google now. That's the best thing about
Do you
radio
think
Well, wait,
2000X.
Are there maniacs out there that only work on Halloween? You think the rest of the time they're just like sitting
Yeah.
around waiting?
I mean, I'm down. Just sit in the
Mhm.
bushes. Like, oh, I'm gonna scare him this year. But that's where. But it's good to know that's where we draw the line, right? So we're recounting improv skits. We're paraphrasing movie quotes.
Yeah.
Right. It was like something about one small step for a man, one giant leap for I don't remember. But we're gonna draw the line at making references at clearing up references to I'm lost here. Somebody save me.
Yeah, no, just do
keep
your
going.
thing. Just
Just
yeah,
keep going.
just burn out.
Just
like
burn
a-
out.
like a
What were
Roman
the
candle.
what were the topics that you were?
I had some topics.
Yeah.
I had topics. I had a
Yeah.
couple for us. We can talk Stranger Things and July 4th.
I haven't seen that.
Okay, cool. Topic done.
Since,
Just topic covered
uh,
right there.
Yeah,
I haven't seen it
third
because
or
it's too
fourth
goddamn
episode.
strange. I don't understand. There's some girl named like 17 or something.
Yeah.
What's her name? 11,
11.
12,
11, I think.
11. And she goes into some other dimension.
She
My family
goes to
absolutely
11.
loves it.
Is it like hard for you to understand simple movies? Like,
Is that a simple
do you
movie?
do you not get the Matrix? Are you like, why is it green? Why are there numbers around him?
What is
Why is that guy from the bus in this movie?
yeah.
Where's Bill?
Can the computers not go below 60 miles an hour?
Yeah. Was he Bill or Ted?
He was. Oh man.
He was Ted
he
because
was
Bill
Ted.
Preston's the blonde one.
He was
So I
Ted,
got
I
it
think,
right.
yeah.
All right, cool.
Nice.
Wait a
Classic.
Yeah, take that 50-50 shot with confidence. That's
Yeah.
the secret to life. I got into a show like straight up where I'm like, okay, I think I'm about 10% gay. Have you heard of Pose on FX?
No.
Okay, Pose is about the underground ball. God, I know way too much about this stuff to be straight. Are you familiar with the underground ballroom culture in New York of the late 80s and early 90s, featuring Vogue dancing? You're familiar with voguing, of course, right? So in the late 80s, especially Black and Latino, gay and trans people would form these houses with each other. Like they were kicked out of their homes, so they would form houses where they hung out, like almost like an improv troupe, but
Right.
a house. So they'd be like, I'm House Extravaganza. I'm House Cindy Crawford, or whatever the hell they want to call their
Right.
house. They would then get together at what were called these balls and do like, they would dance off, like have almost like dance competitions and like modeling competitions where they would either try to act super femme, like the category would be like butch femme or like ultra femme
Right.
or Banji boy. Banji is where you act completely like straight, like you want to look thug as hell if you're in the Banji boy competition.
Right.
So
Wow.
Joe's like, I've never been harder. Like hearing about this, he's like, I'm quitting improv. This is where I need to be. So they made a show about this underground culture, which Madonna did the Vogue video. They would do a lot of Vogue dancing at these balls. There's now an FX show called Pose about this world. And like the entire cast almost is trans, like just male to female trans. And like, where do you guys fall on that spectrum? I'm 38. Joe, you're 37.
I mean, I'll be 38.
Okay, Michael, you're like
Yeah.
41.
31.
You don't look over 28, but
Good.
good. I'm of that generation where I'm a little like I don't have the Jim Norton in me. Like I don't swing toward the whole like I'm female with a
Right.
piece thing. Like I'm a big fan of Michael. He looked like he had a
But
question.
let me ask you this. So like why does it matter? Like it doesn't matter to me what someone wants to identify themselves as.
Yeah,
as
I
far
don't
as
care
I'm
about that
concerned,
at
yeah,
all.
it's if you like whatever makes you comfortable and makes you happy. And I'm not trying to
I
like,
don't care. Yeah.
yeah. It does, yeah. Anyway, continue.
No.
Well, no, what's your question?
Am I gay, Michael?
Right.
That's Ed Helms line. So the show goes on, and it's just trans woman after trans woman, and these are like 2019 trans people playing the trans people of yesteryear.
Right.
I didn't know how far trans technology had come. Cause like there used to be giveaways, like a certain jawline or like
you saying now they
a
look good.
depth to a voice. They're pretty indistinguishable, man. Yeah, like this is T800 level infiltration unit. Like and there's one trans actress on the show. Let me pop up her name. India Moore. INDYAMOORE. Who's hot to the point I'm like, I think you're gay if you wouldn't do her. You know what I like? It's
So what you're
almost
saying is sexiness is relative, is what you're saying.
it's just a
Hashtag
bit of a
Hashtag callback. No, it is, right? I mean, what is it? So what is it that would make you attracted to a biological female?
the puss.
No, but it's not, is it? Right? Because you don't see her vagina like when you
Not
when
in
you
my
meet a
life.
woman. Like
No,
you see
it's been many
you see
years.
it, right? You see like her shape or her face or her
Yeah.
hair or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
Some guys maybe it's her feet, whatever. But like,
I mean, all a penis is a overgrown clitoris.
This is true.
And testicles are just distended ovaries.
Ovaries, yeah.
I didn't know.
You
that.
could just say, you know what? Sometimes I like my ovaries on the outside.
There you go.
Cool. I will tell my dad that in heaven,
Right.
and he will not look down on me in disgust.
Just don't start
So,
talking
but-
to your dead dad during
Yeah,
sex.
no, I'm 38, so I'm not going to like. I would still like. I can jokingly talk about this in the trust tree that is this podcast. Like, yeah,
Trust tree.
I'd take head from her, but I don't know if push came to shove, I would. Like, maybe a 6er in, sure, what the hell, but that's still like a thing to me. Whereas with younger people,
there is a white hot heated debate on Twitter about this very thing.
okay, go.
Oh, just that you would be labeled as transphobic.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely would. Like what I'm saying right now would be labeled. There's a huge thing. Have you heard of TERFs? I think they're called TERFs.
No.
Pretty much lesbians that are like, look, we're completely cool with trans women wanting to identify as women. That's fine. I don't want to date a woman that has a penis. And there's a
Right.
subsection who's like, they're women. What the hell's your problem with it?
Right.
And the old fashioned lesbians have to be like, I'm just about the puss. I'm sorry. Like, I just like puss. And they are being treated like Nazis right now. Like,
yeah, that's an argument that I think will go on for a long time, and there's just no there's just gonna be no end in sight. And like Joe said, I'm just like, I don't care what you do, just
It really
stop,
does. It doesn't
stop
even show up-
yelling at me and stop defining me.
as a
Yeah.
hate monger.
Well, yeah, I mean, it all depends. Like, or like if you if someone has let's say a taste or a preference, I for the most part, unless you're out maliciously or being proactive with your bigotry,
Uh-huh.
and or it's kind of like when people get sued for slander or libel, like there's this intent behind it to
injure,
or to, if you're just like, you know what, it's not my bag, but hey, I will live peacefully and amicably next to you, and you can work, and I will pay you what you deserve, and I would lease you a house if I were your landlord, all this other stuff. Then I want to tell people, like, relax.
As Voltaire said, like, I might not want a girl's cock in my mouth, but I will die for your right
I
to
will
suck
defend it. Yeah. That's like it has gotten so, like, for me, with the whole the trans issue, with especially men or males, born males, I guess you could say, with that are being that are competing in female events, especially like MMA.
Yes.
I'm sorry, you can talk to me until you're blue in the face about how that there's no problem with it.
I got an issue with it. Yeah.
And also, I understand even long before that, certain female athletes were actually testing higher just naturally for high levels of testosterone, and we're having a hard time competing in events for like the Olympics and stuff like that. That they have my sympathy, and I'm not even sure, like, I could even articulate like a stance on that.
You're like Billy Madison answering the question at the end of the film.
Yeah. But as far as someone that hey, this was a dude like last year, and now they are wrestling women.
Yeah.
And they've gone undefeated in Texas and win the state championship, and
that happens
like Kramer fighting the kids.
I remember where I read
it was
about
Texas.
Was it Texas?
Yeah.
Or
like,
there's like a big
dude, like a dude now that's fighting women in MMA and crushing his opponents.
Yeah, it gives pause.
I think at some point, I think maybe you're going to have mixed leagues or just separate leagues. I don't know.
Separate but equal.
The thing is,
Michael Johnson way.
The thing you got to define, right? The thing you got to define is the difference between. So there's the difference in someone's genitalia, right, which may have to do with any number of things, up to and including, like Papa said, sexual attraction, right? Like you may be attracted to a person who looks like a woman, but maybe you're not attracted to a penis, right? Sexually.
I'm not.
But that's only in the sexual realm. When you're talking about physiologically, like athletics, that's a different.
What if
it's a whole different realm?
What if the clitoris?
Yeah, the very big clitoris,
like the 6-inch, 7-inch clitoris. When during orgasm, it didn't produce semen, but it still squirted like a female. I guess it wouldn't squirt out would it?
You would have to take it to the lab the same way they took the vomit from the New Kids on the Block.
But I think ultimately you'd have to ask yourself, are you having fun and are you turned on?
Yeah.
And if you are, then
go for it.
Go for it.
Both of you take turns walking around and looking at this monitor and just snap answer, tell me yes or no.
I just looked her up. Yeah.
That's my man.
Yeah.
I mean, the question you have to ask yourself is, what if you were in a situation? Because I've known guys, I mean, especially, there's a lot of Marines that spend time in Thailand, for example, like where obviously the lady boys are kind of legendary for. I don't know if that's an incorrect term, forgive me, but
I think that's their branding.
I
over
don't.
there.
Yeah, I
Like,
don't know if that's a.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't mean to sound offensive with that, but they're known for being very difficult to tell for sure.
Yeah.
So the question is, when you get to that moment where, like, say you're up to that moment, you think it's a woman, then the underwear comes off. I mean, what do you know? I know there are guys that have reacted violently. There are guys that might be up to try something new. I mean, do you ever think about what you would do in that situation? Like,
I think that is as sure a blood alcohol test as a breathalyzer for me. Like, if I were loaded enough and horny enough, I'd probably just be like, whatever. But like dead sober, I would not.
Yeah. I don't know.
I think the shock of it, frankly, I mean,
I'd be
before
like,
you
cup of coffee.
before you even get to whatever you're into, you know what I mean? The shock of it would be like, I don't know that
I want to say what I was saying though, like when he used the term ladyboy, and maybe what I took a long time to articulate before, is that so much has changed so quickly that what I don't like is for people like in this forum to be able to talk about it
Yes.
without any sort of malicious intent, but just purely trying to understand
And make a couple gags, not at anyone's expense, but our own.
Right. Well, you know what? I think also if you want to be treated equally, you have to have, pardon the pun, your balls busted, just like everyone else.
Yeah.
gets
Oh,
their
yeah.
balls
You
busted.
can't.
And it will help you rather than getting offended. But anyway, what I want to be able to do is people to be able to discuss this and not feel like if they trip over a term or a word and all of a sudden, I know what happens in my head is like, oh, if this is being recorded, if it gets out and then blah blah blah. And
Don't worry, nothing on this podcast
No,
will
I
ever go
know.
anywhere.
But
I
that's
assure
that's the part that I don't like.
well, so being three white males,
Yeah.
like, for
Yeah,
lack
and
of a
that's the
sitting
other
here-
part I don't like.
Well, that's the thing, right? Like I started to write
like we
this.
shouldn't have to apologize or even acknowledge it. It's just what
It's just
happened.
what we are. Yes.
It's the intent. That's like you said earlier. It all comes down to the intent. I think the people that know me well would know that there's no ill intent. I don't wish ill
Right.
on anybody for their sexual preference, orientation, whatever the case may
Well,
be.
you know what?
But like,
Why does this episode sound like a court-ordered apology all
I
of a
know.
sudden?
Well, no,
no, but
and-
he's making a point. Like that's the point of the discussion is
yeah.
in today's society. I think pretty much any white male would be foolish to not just tread carefully with your words,
Right.
because if your intent is taken out of context, you can instantly just be destroyed. And there's very little opportunity to climb back necessarily.
People don't
Yeah.
even
And
care
then,
about
like-
context anymore. Like there.
Well, that's
was-
what I was just about to say is that there is an absence of critical thinking and looking
people
at
just want to
context.
be pissed.
Yeah.
It's literally there was a broad a couple days ago whose picture was circulating where she was holding up like a cartoon, like a handwritten depiction of the two drowned people from whatever Latin American country who were coming here. You know, the image that was like 50 years ago when we had an attention span would have been heard around the world, but here it was just like a tweet we saw for 72 hours. You know what I'm talking about, right? The two face down people. Yeah. And she had like a cardboard drawing or a drawing on cardboard and black marker of that. And she was kind of like smiling and holding it up, but she was an anti-Trump person. But the initial tweet was like, look at this pro-Trump person. And then immediately afterward, the person like corrected themselves and was like, oh, it turns out like she's anti-Trump and his policy. But here was this like very misleading, comment and angle, and everyone was still like, I hate this bitch, I'll kill her. And like maybe every 10th comment was like, hey dude, he said this was not supporting the policy.
The other thing is that I feel like a lot of the culture, the social justice stuff is the squeaky wheel gets the oil.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah,
Sure.
And then it's like, if people just wouldn't react to the people reacting, that's often what you have.
Well, it's the one thing. Like, I do not like Trump. It's the one constructive thing you can learn from the dude.
Right.
Like, oh, you hate me and you want to make an issue of it? I don't care. Go to hell. And you know what? It's that one aspect of that asshole is inspiring.
That's where I'm at politically right now. Is someone on Facebook a while back said it was this guy. He's like, post a controversial opinion or something like that. Mine was the left are hypocritical assholes, the right are predictable idiots.
Yeah.
And that's where I stand with all of this.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
So you get an argument. I mean, the thing is, at some point, I think in parenting, in life, in relationships, in politics, You have to draw a line somewhere. Like you have to be willing to say no to somebody, right? And I think one of the problems the left has is that they struggled to find where to draw the line, like where to say, okay, we can't include, like, you can be what you can identify as, say, a certain number of genders, but at some point you have to say there has to be like a limit or something, right? Because otherwise, how do you define legislation? How do you define like
well,
a
yeah,
benefit or
and
something? You know what I mean?
logically, from just a strict logic standpoint, the what we were talking about with sports and males identifying as females to compete, and then it's like, well, then why couldn't if a female complained that she wasn't getting paid as much as I I was like, well, then I'll just identify as a female, and we'll end the argument there. It's like, why is it so arbitrary? I mean, there's just no solid definition, and you have to keep redefining it. It seems like with every issue.
You mean gender, or like gender equality, or
Just
what's
yeah.
considered?
I mean, you want to talk about what is John has a look on his face like.
I don't know.
Well, this podcast
we're
turned
very
into meet-
pontificating.
This
but
podcast
it's
turned
all
to
good.
Meet the Press at some point. I
Yeah.
don't know who brought this. Like, so here, I'll leave it with this. I feel like I can
just wanna
comfortably
talk
cut it
about
here.
the girl with the
Like,
dick blowing
this is a
haircut.
funny. This is
But
like a
keep
funny
going.
podcast. So like, this is not the forum to discuss like trans rights or, you know what I mean? Like, this is like a comedy podcast. So
It
like,
was.
you can't mix making light of stuff and then also like we're now.
Well, you
like,
know what?
pontificating.
This
Whatever.
going
wait,
right off
wait
the-
a sec though. This is the kind of shit though that is that underlies comedy now today.
Yeah.
It's like when you talk about like three white guys like doing a podcast, like that could be a punchline. Like somebody that could
That is a
just-
punchline. It's literally
Yeah.
yes.
But at the same time, what else do you want me to do?
Yeah.
Why should I feel ashamed or like? I mean, I came here, after work, to meet you guys. That you drove from Annapolis,
Yeah.
and we all were trying to meet together to do something that we enjoy. And it can't, and what it's become a hack punchline as far as to dismiss it, because I know like walking on stage sometimes it's like we're 3 or 4 white guys, and I'm like, and now that's in my head, and it's like, so, people use it to criticize, and I'm like thinking to myself, I have barely enough time to do the things I have to do to like, make money and work and
Yeah.
take care of my daughter and stuff like that. That, for me to carry this on stage, I resent it.
You're saying like you're walking on eggshells kind of thing.
Well, I just resent having my own thoughts now, like, tainted with this, this sort of like self-justification for what I'm doing, what I'm saying, and in a place where like I just want to be able to enjoy, and like, I'm not saying you guys have seen me perform, and so it's like I'm not looking to shock people,
Yeah.
but I'm
Not in the
also
least.
but I'm also not looking now, like sometimes in the middle of a show someone will say bitch, and it's like you can feel the audience, especially in DC, like pull
Yeah.
back,
Mhm.
and it's like, oh, just relax, like get over it, stop being such a little bitch.
yeah. I mean, yeah.
Hold on. There's actually a YouTube commenter supporting
Mhm.
Michael. Doug Track. No.
Doug Track.
There it is.
Hey,
Boom.
boo.
Callback.
There you go.
Yeah.
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 No, I'm with you 100%. Like I will just say that the majority of my friends are white. Like that's not always been the case in life. Right now in comedy, it is, and I don't know. I just don't. I don't want to. You're right. You shouldn't want to have to apologize for like not being.
I want to be.
and-
When I started doing comedy back in the mid 2000s, DC was already a smart place. And
Mhm.
like, if you went for cheap, like low brow humor, you either you listen to the audience not react, and then you didn't get cast, or you didn't get booked, or you just didn't get better. But if you were listening to the audiences, you adjusted. And like, the DC scene, for the most part, are the comics. Even like most of them are professionals that are in policy, or they're attorneys, or they're nonprofits.
No one
And
can make Yeah, that should be explained. No one in DC can make a living on comedy. Like not just
some
just-
do, but I mean, you have to
Not in
really
just performance. So what you
Some,
say?
I
I
would-
mean,
stand-ups.
really?
I would
stand-ups.
maybe be able to name what 10, 15
Are you shitting me right now?
that make a living doing comedy in DC, like for real.
Like for real,
Like
just
only
performing
comedy?
stand up, not even like just the
I can think
performance
of
side of things.
maybe Ramin Mostafavi. I think that's all he does. is
Dude, he
comedy.
does like
That's it.
classes.
That's true.
He
Yeah,
does
you're right. He does
all kinds of.
classes.
I'm
That's a good
talking.
point.
I
Just
walk
comedy.
on stage.
You mean like
Yeah.
a touring comedian, like a national touring comedian?
Just someone who's like not doing every aspect of comedy. Literally, my job is to write jokes and perform them.
Yeah.
That does not exist in the city.
There are some, like Tony Woods and DC Benny.
Yeah.
They do. There are comedians though too that you may have never heard of. I know, I can't even remember the guy's name, but that tour and do like corporate gigs or go overseas or Carnival cruise lines, like.
Yeah.
Okay, there is that level of things. All right.
But at the same time, to your point, there are not many.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because usually
We're just not that big a scene.
right. But what I'm saying is, like, I still, comparatively though, I just don't like, and I think it's like subsiding a bit because I've started to take the attitude like, come at me, because like I have nothing to hide, and I'm not saying anything that is trying to provoke. It's like if I'm doing a show or if I have an opinion through playing a character, which is make fucking believe, and you don't like that character, you obviously then have not been exposed to enough film or theater or stories in general where there are unlikable people. And that's the
Yeah.
Whose goddamn phone ding?
that was mine.
Johnson.
You Michael Janssen.
But yeah, that's so.
I mean, I think
thanks
so.
for
I
letting me
think
rant.
it sounds to me what you're saying is like, why doesn't the wokeness go both ways? Why doesn't the open mindedness?
Are you
go both ways?
mansplaining a
why,
man right now?
No. I'm asking. Is that kind of what you're?
I think to a point it just needs to be
Like, where's the benefit of the doubt?
reeled in to the point of there's a term they use in law that you'll see a lot where it's reasonable, a reasonable I guess just being reasonable.
Would you say live and let live?
I would say some.
Yeah.
I would say
that's kinda
though,
how I
like
view it.
there are people though that still, like the woman that owns the Creek in the Cave up in New York City.
Yeah.
The other day on Facebook, she had these guys that ran a podcast called what was it, Skank,
Legion of Skanks.
Legion of Skanks,
Yeah,
with
yeah.
Big J Okerson and a couple other guys.
Louis J. Gomez and Dave Smith.
And they wanted to have Milo on
Yeah.
their show, and then people freaked out.
Yes.
So
So this is a Twitter thing about a month ago.
Yeah. So people ended up, she ended up basically through, the outcry of people saying she was giving, I don't know, a Nazi or bigots or whatever, a platform, those guys eventually have now found a new space to do their podcasts. And some of it I've heard, like, some of it I've heard that they were going to go and leave anyway, but she's still getting people leaving. And she showed it, and I went and looked on her Facebook page. People leaving reviews like saying, "I won't go here because they give a platform to Nazis." And I looked at the girl that left the comment and the people that supported the comment, and they were comedians too. And I'm like, you are being totally unreasonable, and you are kicking a person. You're using what you're doing is you're abusing the power that through this movement that you've been able to wield. But eventually, through that abuse, people playing that card so many times, and like it's already happening, people are going to stop listening to you when you start to call everything, or you start to use it in a way where you're like hurting people that, for the most part, Rebecca Trent that owns the Creek in the Cave in New York City is on your team, is on your side, and so what I don't like is, people that are still using that in a way that is just like, it's hypocritical to me.
You ain't wrong.
Mm.
I don't
It's
know what else
tough.
to say. Yeah.
Bottom line, it's a tough subject, man. The whole thing is just like like
No, I
the context piece is what gets me. Like I think I would never say something, even in a comedic context, that is meant to hurt. Like
Yeah.
you said, I might do something that's meant to entertain or meant to make you think or meant to just be maybe not shocking, but humorous in some way, right?
Mhm.
But the intent would never ever be to harm, and that's where I think it gets difficult. Like if I go home tonight wondering who's going to listen to this podcast and think that we're transphobic or homophobic or whatever the case may be,
Right.
that's problematic because I'm not.
Right.
Right. So that paranoia or that anxiety is really coming from nowhere, and that ultimately I think is part of the goal of some of the extreme people on the left
Right.
that just want to cause just want to cause chaos
Yeah.
ultimately. And I don't think anybody would argue that's the productive way to do things. But I mean, the right has problems too. It's just now I think everybody's got to cool out and just be able to just
Mhm.
have a conversation without immediately assuming that someone is something negative.
Yeah, because the way that things have changed have happened so fast, and like through social media, you have this amplification of voices and issues and everything that it's like give people a chance to like catch up. It's like when Bruce Jenner came out and became Caitlyn, it was like ESPN decided like she's a woman and she's beautiful and if you have any and it's like whoa, let me slow down. What do you mean? And then people are like, you're just being a cisgendered, straight man. Well, wait, what does cis mean? And I remember
Well-
seeing cis, and I was like, does that mean circumcised?
Yeah.
What is it? Because I knew people were against circumcision. I was like, I can't, and then I know people that still don't know these terms, and it's like, why? It's like they're just not on social media. And then so you can't just assume that everybody is,
Yeah. But that begs the question: do people have an obligation to be a certain level of woke? Like, is it 2019? Like, do you have some obligation to just know that it's not okay to say the N word or
no to
talk
that.
about
No
right?
to that.
Do you know what I mean?
All
Like,
right,
that's
all
what-
right,
I-
enough. God damn it. Let's do some comedy. For
All
fuck's sake. For fuck's sake. He made a good point. It's been a good point. But
Take it down, man.
Gosh.
something.
Get it.
John
Why'd
is-
the chicken
John is
cross the
really
road?
disappointed in us.
Yeah.
No, not disappointed. You guys are just funny as shit. I mean,
The
it's
hair-
also a very deep thought.
Yeah.
It was incredibly. It was very well articulated. Trust me, if it wasn't very well articulated like 10 minutes ago, I'd been like, shut the fuck up, put a cock in your mouth. But it was good. And I know you've wanted to say something to that effect for a long time.
I've been
Yeah.
sitting on this man.
You have. It's just welled up inside.
As he puts away the Denny's napkin with the writing on
Right.
it is in his pocket.
To whom it
Came up
may
with that
concern.
over moons over my hammy.
We'll go to a topic that you've picked out.
yeah,
Oh, I
preferably-
really just had banging the.
Well, what was the other one?
Okay, hold on, let me see. There was the hoax that there was a streamer who sold her bathwater to people, like a YouTube sensation, and she sold her bathwater to fans, and someone put out a hoax tweet mimicking the Daily Mail's layout, saying that 50 people had gotten herpes
All right.
from drinking the bathwater.
Why? You know what though? You drink someone's bathwater that you bought over the internet. It's
You deserve death. not
well, yeah,
herpes.
it is up
I don't know if
to
you did-
whatever.
I mean,
what are you doing?
No,
I don't know
like
you
we're
deserve death, but if death occurs, I mean, I
Yeah.
can't say like
it's 2019. This is the one little bit of prejudice
That-
we can keep.
Yeah,
The
that is
If your
that-
bathtub
yeah.
drinker
If
died.
those 50 people, if they were to seek any sort of like legal recourse, I would just hope that someone would say, like, you know what? No,
Yeah, oh yeah, go to hell. No one,
I
goddamn
can't
Hitler would
help
not.
you.
is that a
Yeah.
reasonable? Does that fit the definition of reasonable? Like you drank someone's bathwater, and
Yeah,
now you
I
are
think
sick. That's a reasonable.
That would that is almost like
Evolution.
analogous to you don't yell fire in a crowded theater. You don't drink bathwater you bought over the internet.
over the yeah.
Well, what's funny, it turned out to be a hoax. Like she didn't give herpes to everyone, but
But she did sell her bathwater.
You know what?
She did,
She
100%.
Now she could. She might have something for slander. as
100%
far
she
as-
does.
Yeah, for-
absolutely.
yeah.
But I remember hearing that, and it's such a great story, like Richard Gere with a hamster in his ass.
Well, that was
But yeah.
pre-internet, so you have to wonder about that one.
Oh, you think like that lends credence to it?
I mean, that was brought up in the movie Scream, where they're like, after you hear that Richard Gere hamster story, like so many times, you believe that. Or like I think we may have talked about this before, but like the Mikey and the Pop Rocks, that
Oh,
was
that he died.
yeah. I was in elementary school or middle school, and I remember hearing that, and it's like, who drudged up that story and was like, all right, we need to get someone out to each 50 state.
Spin on it.
And I need you to go to into candy stores and just start laying this rumor down.
Go to the baseball card shop.
It's just some eccentric billionaire that sits back and goes, I have all this money to spend. I want to start a rumor, and I want to just see how long it gets back to me.
So true story.
My grandnephew tells it to me. I will have succeeded.
Who wants to start a pool?
I don't know if I think I might have mentioned this once before, but one thing when I used to play a lot of video games online, I used to play Call of Duty quite a bit after I left the Marines, because it was like made a cartoon out of war. It was like super entertaining, and I would play Call of Duty online, and there'd be like these, it'd obviously be these kids like with headsets. It'd be like, "Fuck you, man, you piece of shit." And so I used to love spreading rumors about the next Call of Duty game. Like I'd be like, "Oh my God, you guys hear in the next Call of Duty game, you're gonna be able to fly? Or you're gonna have like 3 weapons?" And I would wait to see, like, I would make them crazier and crazy. Like what got back to me, like the next Call of Duty is gonna be interactive. Like they're gonna have a little device where your TV is gonna shoot blood every time you get shot. These kids would be like, "What? No way, man!"
Did you ever go too far? Like the next Call of Duty, your character will be Jewish.
Oh my God, they did.
Michael just staring at me dead-eyed.
You know what? I have a question that I want to ask, but then like now that we're back on the lighter side of things, I don't want to. But
no, go. Do it. Ah!
When people came down on Kellen Winslow for saying that he was a soldier out on the NFL field, he I don't know how long ago it was.
I remember that. Yeah, he said something about
I'm a
soldier going to war or something.
And people came down on him, and then right after that, you'd have all these news stories of like Kellen Winslow, but should he have said blah 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 blah, and then all of a sudden, you have a commercial break. In an NFL game, and you have an advertisement for Call of Duty, which is telling you to be a fucking hero, and like you're going to war from like your basement into your backyard into urban warfare, and I'm like, this is horse shit.
Well, because I tell you right now, there's no respawning in actual war. Spoiler alert. I don't know if anybody knows that, but like once you're dead,
that theory?
You're dead. Yeah.
I mean,
that's what bothers me is these kids. I worry that some of these dumbass kids think like, oh, this is what war is like. No, dude, war.
Do you really? You don't really worry that someone thinks you can die on a battlefield and respawn?
No, not that. But like, dude, so okay, I'll give you an example. So having been in the Marine Corps and having been to the Iraq War, one of the things they don't tell you, and I wasn't even in the infantry. One of the things they don't tell you is like, maybe you don't shower for a really long time.
Right,
maybe you have to carry your whole life on your back, or you're sweaty, or you smell, or like, I mean, all you can do to find some relief is to stuff tobacco in your lip or smoke a pack of cigarettes. You know what I mean? Like that none of that stuff comes through about the actual experience. Or like you come home and now you're scared of everything, or like you can't go to the movies. Like Call of Duty makes it out to be a cartoon. And that was what after coming back from the Iraq War, that's what I loved about it.
So you just,
I was like, dude, I could lob grenades like all over this, like, you know what I mean? It's just it's a ridiculous game.
Like just Call of Duty PTSD edition.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's just like dudes sketching out in a 7-Eleven.
It's like guys running around with like the water guns and stuff. It like makes it like totally.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it makes it totally.
What would be a really challenging game is for you to come back from war and to obtain your VA benefits.
There it is. That's a kid. Call of Duty VA edition. You just stand in line waiting for it for 6 days.
Wait, no, all this stuff physically I'm going through, and I think it has something to do with the war that I just fought. And they're like, no, it's not.
No, it's not.
It's hereditary.
The Call of Duty VA edition comes with a box of friggin'
Are there like
antidepressants?
Call of Duties go back in time as well, right? Like the very first one.
Yeah.
So there could be like a Call of Duty where you're trying to get the government to treat your cancer after Agent Orange.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh my, yeah. The Call of Duty,
they should have had a connection with Grand Theft Auto, where the guy just finally is like, you know what, I have to get my life together, and then all of a sudden it goes. Call of Duty.
Like when they say things exist in the same universe.
Right,
yeah.
right.
So the Call of Duty
he's like, I gotta stop stealing cars, but I didn't graduate high school.
Not a lot of opportunities.
Yeah.
For a guy like me. Just 1080p.
That GTA was so sad because like he would fall to the ground every time a muffler backfired.
Right.
It was really so poignant.
Classic.
Yeah, and but he knew what to do in Thailand.
Yeah, that's true. Just keep on dicking.
I've run these streets before.
Just dick your way through it.
I think that whole tangent was brought to you by spreading false rumors. I think was how we went off on that.
Rumors.
Yeah, spreading false rumors. Yeah.
Just remember, the next Call of Duty, you'll be able to fly.
You'll be able to fly.
You yourself.
You'll have 20 grenades.
The gift of flight.
I think once I said that you'll be able to pay money And the more money you pay, the more like grenades you'll get, or the more ammo you get. And all these kids were like, "That's pay to play." They were so offended.
Yeah, it's just
like,
microtransactions. Those are real.
the country's falling apart, the oceans are polluted, but these kids are like, "I'd pay to play in Call of Duty. That's where I draw the line."
Yeah.
Man.
Did you ever meet anybody like lasting friendships through?
You know,
online
it's funny.
gaming?
I did. And I'll send this link to some of my pals in London, England. Jamie O'Connell, shout out. Rob, I forget your last name, but shout out. Anyway, Rob Hill, that's his name. Rob
I just
Hill.
want to
some guys in London. Some guys in London I met playing Call of Duty. I never met him in real life, but we've
Right.
been friends for like 10 years.
Really?
I just, and this is going to sound bad because I'm using gay as a pejorative, even though I don't feel that way. But what you just said is 100 times gayer than me admitting I would do the living shit out of India more.
no.
Just want to put that out there.
Meeting friends on Xbox
Yeah, like
Live.
Friends
actual male
online?
friends. That
Well,
you've
I mean,
met.
that's you have a problem with just platonic male intimacy.
Is that what?
Yeah, like
Is it the
go all the
relationship
way,
or is it
like-
the platform? Are you,
No, I
are
have
you just a PlayStation guy?
You
You're
know
like,
what?
goddamn.
it's that you're a
son."
cock tease. Like, just finish these guys off.
You
Just
know what you can
don't-
do though is what I've seen now is that there's internet porn, and the genre is the girl is gaming at the
Mhm.
time, and she decides that it's turning her on, or the guy that walks into the room is turned on by her gaming.
Nice.
She has like a headset and
Oh,
control.
like she has the little streamer set up,
Yeah.
and yeah, that's a whole thing on what is the big stream Twitch,
Twitch.
like
yeah.
the girls that accidentally air quotes don't turn
What's
off their
Twitch?
stream. It's like a service, a feed by which you can show people how you video game. Like we literally have gotten to the point
It's a,
we watch people play video games.
it's a live stream.
Yeah. And
yeah.
occasionally a girl will get saucy and be like, I forgot to turn off my camera and now I'm masturbating.
Yeah, right.
Oops.
It's been known to happen.
Does she benefit from that?
You can make a ton of money, man.
Oh,
you
you
make like
can?
$5 or something per subscribe. Like to subscribe to somebody on
Oh.
Twitch, or to subscribe to Twitch
I mean,
or
it's-
something is like
it's
$5 or
frankly
$10, and you get like
Dumb
half.
as shit that the three of us aren't playing a game together and streaming
Right.
together. Cause like this pedestrian level right here,
Really?
by Twitch standards, we are the fucking new kings of Latin comedy right up in this. Like we are on fire
What is
by Twitch standards.
is there could I get on and just start jacking it?
You could, yeah.
No, wait, do I have to play the game first for like an hour?
No, you could just like wordlessly masturbate to just the opening screen of Mario.
They're like, wait, we gotta suspend your account. When we give you back your account, you gotta play the game for at least 30 minutes. And then you can start.
yeah.
And then you can leave the camera.
Cuts right back to while you're fucking wailing on it.
What is that? Just any game you can play?
Yeah, anything. I'm so fucking old. I don't know the exact setup. Do you have to, Joe Rigatoni
do.
over here?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
got a stream box that you feed the HDMI through or something, or
No, I mean you can have any level of setup. Like there are a lot of people that actually one of my old Marines does Twitch streaming. She has like a green screen. So like the background is like live. Like she'll do a lot of I think it's like Dance Dance Revolution or one of those.
I'm
games
not a
where, like,
sexist, but how big are her tits?
I'll give you her Twitch handle. You can make the call.
Okay,
You know what I mean?
It'll be your Call of
It'll
Duty.
be your Call of Duty. Yeah. Call of Duty, John Papa Giorgio.
Yeah, Call of
guesses the
Duty
tit
sex
size
predator.
version. Yeah. But the point is, like, she has quite a set. I mean, it's like, green screen,
Oh, she
professional
has quite a set,
cameras, like
okay.
quite a set,
Right.
set up.
No.
Okay.
Up set. But yeah, so it's, I mean, you can get a streaming box, or you can literally now just do it through your Xbox or PlayStation. I mean, you can
The
just
Switch
everything is-
can.
as long as you have a
Switch is a
Good enough.
fucking Super Nintendo.
the Switch is basically Super Nintendo. This guy,
The
so
Switch is a
can
goddamn
play
Tiger
any
LCD
video
system.
game.
you play any video game you want, yeah. And as long as
Oh.
people, I mean, that's the thing. If people may not be, it'll be like right now. It's probably like my wife and son listening, and maybe two other people. But
Right.
Oh,
just
they
depends on
bailed.
whether or not
They
to, but yeah, they bailed
bailed
a long time
God,
ago.
They bailed. No, like in your case, you could literally stream yourself playing like the latest Civilization,
Oh,
and you're
really?
so funny in stream of consciousness, like people would watch that shit.
My son, I'm not for nothing, man, but like, so my son is listening right now, or maybe not. I don't know.
Why?
But like, the thing is, I'll tell you right now, what would spike? I guarantee he's looking at his phone or off in La La Land, or maybe he's listening. I hope you're listening, buddy. But if he's not,
He's already jacking
he's not,
into India
do you,
more.
do you know what could add interest? Is if there was a video game that was being played in the
Right.
background while he's listening to us. Now you've got his attention, and I think his generation in particular has to have that extra level of stimuli
Oh, we're
to
fucked.
be able to pay
We're
attention. It's
fucked.
tough, man. I'm telling you right now. it's
Movies
tough.
in the future are gonna have like someone playing a game at all times.
They're just gonna have like a crawl, like Fox News does,
yeah.
and just a little picture in picture.
Do you guys ever catch yourself? You ever catch yourself like you're watching TV or a movie, and then the next thing you know, you're like, oh, dude, I got to rewind it like
Oh yeah.
10 because I'm looking at my phone. I don't know what happened.
Yeah,
I,
fuck it.
I
can't
watch
believe, like-
movies with captions because
I can't
My-
do the captions. The
my-
captions are too distracting to me.
I have to be able to understand what they said because I'm in and out.
Oh, I do it so people think it's subtitles and I'm smart.
Nice.
What?
I can't
Sorry,
read and
it's-
watch at the same time. If I wanted to read, I'd read a book.
Oh,
I'm watching
yeah.
TV because I don't want to read.
I have started to read again,
Okay.
like street science and
Magazines,
stuff.
but-
No, like
Food labels.
I know since I moved, I've tried to do it to
Yeah.
also to get to sleep, like, you know, maybe 6 hours a night at least. But too often I've been on my phone or something else, and before I know it, it's like 1 or 2 in the morning, and I have to be up in 4 or 5 hours.
Well, have you noticed like that's how you can tell that phones and movies are fucking great and reading sucks, because like you'll do the phone like while you're taking a shit. You'll play with your phone in bed. At
Well,
a
I
meal.
want to fall asleep.
No, yeah, that's what I'm saying. You literally cannot put down your phone. At least for me, like reading, I treat it like a serial killer with a ritual. Like I have a reading chair. I have to.
I think with my job, I have to read so much that now.
Oh, you're burned out.
Well, no, what I read at my job now, any kind of book is actually pretty interesting.
Oh, because you just read legalese all day.
Legalese and insurance policies and
That's a reasonable stance to take. I feel
Yeah.
like, yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Huh.
I'm reasonably with you. I am.
I just picture Michael reading. Like, if you want to pick up the sword, go to page 78. Okay.
Oh, I used
Nice.
to well,
Choose your own legal adventure.
Yeah.
If you want to plead not guilty,
I
turn to page
remember-
24.
I remember the first one I read where I died and I about dropped the book.
Fucking just drop the juice.
Like
Just what?
No.
Fuck.
so
Did it say the end? Was it over?
yeah, like I think I
Pretty
had
final.
fallen out of like, you know, I chose a part of the spaceship where it's like, oh, you've been sucked out. It's like
Cabin
I
depressurized.
was like,
Sucking your intestines.
gonna
through
have
your
to start
rectum.
this again.
When you get sucked out of a spaceship into space, do you freeze or explode or what exactly
You're-
happens? Don't you explode because it's a
I think,
vacuum?
like your
you have internal pressure?
blood vessels all burst.
Oh, rupture or
yeah,
something.
you're dead pretty quickly.
You're
Yeah.
dead instantly. From what I
I think at the
understand.
very least you suffocate. There's no air out there.
Yeah.
I
Well, there's
don't know.
there's no air, and it's like 1 degree above Kelvin or whatever that thing was absolute zero or whatever. It's like
Yeah.
Okay.
super cold, and there's no pressure, and there's no air.
Well, if
so
you
like,
seen the movie Gravity?
yeah, of course.
Yeah.
yeah.
It seems like if you were to get caught in orbit, you would just take on debris that's traveling 150 miles an hour.
Oh yeah.
Ooh.
I mean, did you love how they had that like pretty much a red shirt with them? You know that term red shirt or no?
What's that?
Okay,
Like
well,
a freshman
sorry.
that
sorry to
chose not to
outdork you.
play for 1 year and he's gonna.
Oh, a red shirt. Oh, yeah, from Star Trek.
Yeah,
yeah,
so-
the red shirt
Yeah.
who always died.
The
Yeah.
original
Oh.
Star Trek,
Oh,
like,
right.
the different colored shirts apparently correspond to different jobs.
Oh,
Red
right.
shirt were the security guys.
Yeah.
And so it'd always be like, well, we're going down to the planet. It's like Kirk, Spock, and then like Ensign
yeah.
Wedge
Yeah.
in red shirt. It's like,
Ensign
wow,
Wedge.
which one's
I
coming
would-
back?
I would have liked them all just kind of looked at him before they beamed off.
It's just like, just trying to remember your face.
Yeah.
We've had bad luck lately. And so that's like there. Don't you remember? Wasn't there like it's George Clooney, Sandra Bullock, and then like some no-name
Right.
Indian actor or something, or
Yeah.
Asian. I forgot what the hell he was, but yeah, like 2 minutes in, like a fucking Coke can punches a hole through his head like a shotgun blast,
Oh, nice.
and he's just floating around. You're like, wow, I didn't expect. I thought the entire movie was going to be Sandra Bullock, George Clooney, and Ensign Chang. You know,
Right.
like.
He has like one line, so they show his face for like 2 seconds. So you're
Yeah.
like, oh, that guy. That was that
Yeah.
guy.
Yeah.
And then it shows him with like what was it? It was like a piece of debris that went through his head at like 17,000 miles an hour.
Yeah, it's
just like,
exactly
Yeah,
what
wasn't it?
Michael said, that like all these bits of satellite and screws that have come out of shuttles are now in orbit around the Earth. And like to be in orbit, you're going fuck knows how fast.
Have you ever seen a video from the space station when they hit like a little piece of they call it micro debris? They're in the space station and it sounds like somebody shot at them. It's like bink.
I love
Really?
those
Or
toys
I was
as a kid.
I was
Micro
watching
debris.
one micro debris. I was watching one where they showed a window. It was a window with a space station, and all of a sudden there was like chip in the window, and they were like, it's some little microscopic grain of sand going 17,000 miles
Dude,
an hour.
enough speed will make anything deadly. That there was a fucking shuttle that went up. I don't remember which one. The shuttle Deadsy. But long story short, it took off, and there was a stage of the rocket that was held in by fucking actual foam cubes, like the shit you would put in a camera case.
You talking about the
Ooh.
Challenger?
Not the Challenger. The Challenger blew up good and true.
Oh,
like,
Columbia. You're talking about
I
Columbia.
think Columbia. Okay, yeah.
Columbia.
A
In
fucking
2003.
block of foam hit the wing at 500 miles
You
an
know what it
hour.
was? It was insulation foam on the big gas tank. You
Foam?
remember the
Yeah.
big copper gas
Yeah.
tank? It was covered in
Foam.
but it was like foam that was like as hard as cement. It was like insulating foam for the
Oh, okay.
the big red.
I'm picturing actual styrofoam, like when you open a Transformer as a kid. But yeah, at 500 miles an hour, it goes right.
500. Try 5,000. It was like
Well, I thought it was like right on takeoff, so I didn't know it was that fucking fast. It was like they were doomed the instant they get up because this piece of shit foam goes right through the fucking wing, and then they're in space.
with a
and-
hole in this.
Yeah, like the entire time, like, hey kids, we're on YouTube. What's up? And then like they're just dead man walking. Like, can you imagine how fucking enraptured this country would have been if they learned that they could not have come down? People would have the drama for once in our ADD lives.
When
everyone would have
did
been
this
fucking-
happen?
Like you said, I think you got it.
So
03.
the funny,
Uh,
true story, man.
It is funny. Go on.
When I was in the Marine Corps, I served with a guy named his name was Lieutenant McCool. I don't remember his first name, but
Big dick.
he was the son of Willie McCool, Commander Willie McCool, who was the Columbia Space Shuttle captain or the
Uh.
pilot, and who was killed, of course, in the reentry. But I remember that nobody had any idea that problem existed, and so when they came back into they said they thought maybe there was they called it a foam strike, and it wasn't on takeoff. It wasn't like immediately on takeoff. It was like, I think it was shortly thereafter. It was like some point in the acceleration where the forces are so tremendous that this block of foam just put a massive hole in the heat shield.
Yeah.
But they would, if I'm not mistaken, from my I can't wish I can remember, Sean McCool, I think was his name. Sean's account of it was they would have basically what they would have done is they would have parked the spaceship and they would have stayed on the ISS, the space station, and they would have had to send up some rescue mission. That would have been some high drama. Like
That's
while
what
they
I'm
put
saying.
together
This
this,
is like literal.
Yeah.
You would have seen fucking movies of this until the day you die.
it would have been nonstop.
Like the way they
yeah.
make a D-Day movie every 10 to 15 years. You would have never stopped seeing goddamn space shuttle, whatever the hell,
Yeah.
rescue movies. Fucking ad nauseum, end of time.
Well, they didn't rescue him though.
No,
Well,
they
did. 'Cause
They died. They
They
didn't know.
They burnt up. Yeah, they didn't.
They had
no
to do
idea.
a post-mortem on the goddamn shuttle and be like, oh, there's a hole in it. I'm just saying, had it played out differently.
Yeah, that nobody knew how. You know what the remedy is for that. Now the procedure.
Duct tape.
Well, they don't fly the shuttle anymore, but they used to. After that happened, every time they went to the space station, when the shuttle would undock, they would flip it over and literally look at the engineers at the
Oh,
shuttle
wow.
would be upside down, and they would inspect every square inch of the heat shield. Then it would flip back over and go back into.
Damn.
Yeah, but they never thought they would have to do that. It's like the Apollo astronauts that were killed in that on the launch pad when they had like a pure oxygen environment in the spacecraft, and like
Mm.
Apollo 1, I think it was,
And someone
and
farted.
all those guys burned up. Somebody went, that was it. The rest is history.
Oh, and there's no way for them to let themselves out, right?
Well, they were all strapped in, and the thing is,
Oh,
I
okay.
just saw the other day actually in the documentary that the flight director at the time said they were dead. He heard them dying, like the
Mm.
Grizzly Man. It was like 15 seconds they were done. I mean, they just suffocated and burnt up, and
Damn.
terrible, man. But the thing is, they never had to consider that problem. Like they never had to consider the pure oxygen environment and all these electronics in the 60s that are all shady, causing sparks. The same thing with the Columbia disaster. They never thought they would have to the space shuttle would be totally compromised to the point of catastrophic failure by something I'm pretty sure they knew about the foam strike, and they were like, there's no way it caused enough damage to cause a catastrophic failure. But
Well, now they don't have to consider it at all because the Earth is flat.
It's true.
yeah.
Mm.
We're not,
You
we
literally just have to walk over the edge and you're in space.
think about what John F. Kennedy, were he still alive today, would say about the fact that we no longer have a space shuttle and we're basically taking Russian Ubers into orbit, right? For like 80
Right.
billion a pop. I mean, yeah, can you imagine?
Yeah, no, it's
Say, Era, where's my whore?
yeah.
Well,
Horrible on every level. Bad impression, bad line.
No, what I can't believe is people think it's a waste of money because there's so many other inventions
Yeah,
and
Tang and
advancements
Gore-Tex jackets
have
and
happened
this
because
watch, I mean,
of the research to put people into space.
yeah. There's all
But
sorts
people are like, "You're not gonna go to the moon just to see a rock."
It's the biggest act of R&D you can engage in. Like it's and that's the problem. R&D in today's world doesn't pay.
What is
Like,
R&D?
research and development.
Wow.
Like think of all the fucking millions that Steve Jobs poured into
Right.
making the iPhone, and then like HTC is just like, we're gonna make that phone too. Like that's it. Like, wow, that's genius. Cool. We'll imitate everything. We'll just do a fucking breakdown.
intellectual property.
Yeah, and we're on that shit. And they had to spend like $100, maybe $200. You know, just
who is this other company? That
I think
just-
HTC,
Well,
right?
there's,
Like,
there's Huawei. You know,
Yeah, Huawei.
Huawei.
Yeah.
Huawei.
Yeah.
They're the Chinese company that basically steals everybody's intellectual property. and
Fucking,
sells.
they are intellectual rapists, the Chinese.
right.
If there's okay, so there's two things that I'll agree with Trump on. One, just fucking say fuck you and don't apologize for shit, and people will back down. Which, for better or worse, works. I'm not saying it's
Right.
the nicest thing. It apparently works. Two, the Chinese are fucking intellectual property thieves par excellence.
Right. Well, what I
Nope.
couldn't believe was he would say that they were winning, and then you get a shot of people walking through a Chinese city, and they're all wearing surgical masks because they can't breathe.
Yeah. Oh, this is a shithole country.
Mhm.
I have a friend who, honest to God, has a degenerative liver disease that he would have had later in life, but he did like 3 weeks in China. And the amount of like sewage in the fucking soups he was ingesting and stuff triggered an early onset of
No
this shit.
Jesus.
Yeah, he's now looking at getting a liver transplant, which he probably would have been looking at maybe like 50, 55, but he's starting to get cirrhosis now.
Oh my god!
And it was triggered because he was like they use sewage as fucking cooking oil if they can get away with it. He's like, you'll never hear a bird in a Chinese city because they eat fucking anything that flies by.
Wow.
They're like
Man.
spider people, man.
You said it's a shithole country, but I'm like, man, have you seen a picture of like, I mean, Beijing?
Oh
or,
yeah.
the cities are like, oh my god!
I
Look
still
at
want to go.
I mean, just
It
be
looks
safe
incredible.
and
I
like,
guess I'm not gonna get a soup or a pet bird.
yeah,
but-
bring your own damn water. Where are you, Petey?
I mean, there's some
bird.
guy who just stuffed egg rolls in his face at Chinatown
Oh,
Express with me
yeah.
last night. You're pretty
Oh.
sure
Yeah.
that kitchen door is open. I'm pretty sure I
Do
was
they
like, oh, that
do
guy's.
those people wince now when you guys walk through the door?
Oh,
It's
yeah.
always
I
like
think they
15 minutes before close.
I think
Pretty much, yeah. We're just the fucking fat American eat beasts that tip 15%.
Last night I was a little late. Papa's sitting in the restaurant waiting for me. And I come walking in, and the hostess turns around. She's about to be like, "Hi, welcome." And she turns around, and she just goes, "Oh," and just kind of points to Papa.
Right.
Yeah.
Your fat friend is over there.
Well, no, I mean, like Patrice O'Neill did a great bit on this, but yeah, Asian people in the service industry like tend to not acknowledge humanity.
Right.
So, like, especially for filthy guaylo like us, the outsider whitey, when they actually are like, "Oh yeah, we know you. You're not just another white guy." You're like, "Fuck, I achieved something. Like, I've
Right.
eaten enough egg rolls. I did it."
You're getting me hungry for that place now.
I know. I just
They were
like drive
especially
in.
crunchy last night, my
Were
man.
they?
You missed it. Yeah,
It was a good batch.
Yeah,
it was a good batch.
It was a good
Oh,
batch. Fried hard as shit.
I didn't even get to. You would have loved this shit. I walk in.
Was it just you two?
It was
Just
just
us,
us.
yeah.
Yeah. Fucking, we got rebuffed by
the crew.
everyone else. Yeah.
Literally everybody else is like, "Oh, we're going to Boundaries Down. Fuck you guys."
Yeah. Like, we're going to
Alright.
be, it's honest to God, everyone after doing a performance does their fix. The two fat slobs go to eat food and the drinkers go drink.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
But I am about to walk in the place, and an old black homeless who's like, young man, come here. He's like, can you? And I'm like, thinking he's going to ask for money. He's like, look, I ain't going to ask you for money. Can you buy me food? I'm like, all right, what do you want? Because they have some fairly cheap options there.
Right.
Like you
Yeah.
and I routinely get this 2 egg rolls for
I want
$3.
the lobster a la king.
Yes.
Really?
He goes,
Kind of what happened.
I want the sweet and the sour shrimp. And he points to it, and it's a $16 dish. I don't fucking eat $16 worth of food at this place.
Now wait a minute. It's not a $16 dish at like Ruth Chris. This is like
He
Chinatown
didn't-
Express. It's
he
like a
didn't-
hole in the wall.
He didn't know he was asking the cheapest man in the
I second that. Can I be perfectly frank? I second that.
I'm sorry.
And I'm not gonna-
Sorry.
I'm not going to say the number this guy tells me he's got in the bank, but I'll tell you right now, there's at least one comment. Like,
Right.
holy shit.
I eat like a $7 dumpling thing, and if I'm feeling saucy, I'll throw in $3 worth of egg rolls. So we're talking $10.50.
No.
So you agree with Trump on three things, which is just screw the hungry.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
There's
Yeah.
that too.
So I'm like, can I get it for you after my friend gets here? Just trying to buy myself some time. He's like, no, you can get it for me now. It's carry out. I'm like, well, technically I could. I mean, what the fuck? So I'm just like, how about I get you some egg rolls? Trying to guide him. Like, if you're actually hungry, sure. I'll get you 3. I'll get you 2
Right.
$7 worth of egg rolls. Fuck it. I'm feeling saucy. He's like, man, you cheap.
No, he said, you being cheap, young man. Like, gave him a lecture.
Oh, that's it. And then he goes, oh, I'm just playing. I'm like, yeah, you played yourself out some fucking egg rolls. And I just walked
Oh,
in.
he just walked away. He stopped.
No, he then came in later, and I think he just caved and was like, fuck it, I'll buy my own $17 worth of sweet and sour
he
shrimp.
had money.
He had money the whole time.
The whole time.
He just bought this for himself later.
Oh,
But like,
wow.
fuck, man, aim low. God.
So maybe that guy was cheaper than you.
Yeah, he was.
He was.
You're right. That is
Tell him about the
cheap-
outdated menu. He had like an outdated.
Oh, he had an outdated menu that he was using to reflect lower prices before they went up.
Yeah.
So like the actual sweet and sour shrimp was 18 bones on his menu is $15.99. So had I ordered it and then settled up, I would have been like, motherfucker.
You should have switched menus with him. I thought that would be your move.
Yeah, I would have been like,
Classic.
hey, look, broke dude, I'll give you $2 for the menu.
Oh
Fucking
my
order
God.
off.
I'll give it to you for $2.50.
You think they'd honor it? You think they'd honor the menu if you walked in? You're like,
Fuck
yeah,
no,
look.
you would be in
No.
for trench warfare.
No, I'd say right now, if they did honor it, they'd pee in it. Telling you,
Just a little-
These egg rolls are a little salty
Yeah.
today.
You think the Coke would have been tainted?
They give you
Oh,
some
God.
homemade sewage broth.
They do that. Look it up. Fucking sewage oil. They literally will take like what the sewage condenses into, which you could probably use as C4,
Oh.
and they'll use this shit to like cook. Street vendors will use it to cook. And then you're like, oh, that was a great wonton. Oh, I have hepatitis.
Ooh.
It's
Yikes. You ever watch videos on YouTube of
Yes,
like,
I do.
Japanese street food?
I thought you were gonna say Chinese tourists shitting in the street.
No, that would be or drinking sewage water. I mean,
Yeah.
that's something, it's probably a
They,
channel
no,
opportunity
but
for
Chinese tourists actually get a bad rap around the world because they shit anywhere.
I thought that was an
that. What?
Indian thing.
Is that a real like
Yeah,
that's a real like stereotype or whatever?
yeah.
No kidding.
There are actual signs that say like you can't shit here.
I know that the Indian folks are real. Like, I remember watching a video 10 years ago that was designed by some, like, whatever the Indian department for not shitting in the street was. And it was a song where the chorus was, take your poo to the loo.
Really?
Yeah. And it was just like a Bollywood, like, take your poo to the loo. And it
Because
was
people
like,
were just shitting.
people just shit. Yeah. Like,
It's so overcrowded. Yeah, we're gonna.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
which
mean, the
is-
line for the bathroom.
Well, yeah, fucking. There's so much that is flawed with this country, but it's like you want to talk American pride, we shit in toilets, like almost unequivocally.
Or at least in an outhouse, or in
Yeah,
the woods.
Exactly, like behind a door with a little crescent moon cut out of it.
Yeah.
That's what we do,
Well, in the Marines, you shit in a hole you dig,
and then you burn
So-
it,
and then
right?
you use leaves to wipe your ass. But whatever.
Oh well, I remember as a kid, I heard a story.
We-
So
Wait, were you in like Afghanistan or
Iraq twice.
Iraq
Yeah.
twice.
Mhm.
Was there
I never had to shit in the sand in Iraq. I'll say that.
were the female soldiers like
No, it was not integrated at the time. If that's what
oh
you're asking.
really
No,
wasn't
well, no, so I mean, my unit was integrated. There were females in my unit, but we're a non-combat unit. I was a communications officer.
uh,
So like I had female Marines, but we were not.
Were
There's
people
combatant units
dating?
and there's not. Well, so that was always a little weird because they weren't supposed to. But like there
Yeah.
was, I remember one time, one of my corporals, that's a young Marine for those that don't know, came to me and was like, I got a little bit of a problem. There's this female corporal from another unit that wanted to hook up with him, and the plan she came up with was we had these like old Toyota Jeeps, or like Toyota pickup trucks that we could use to drive around this giant airbase that we were at the time. And this female Marine wanted to have another Marine drive the pickup truck around the perimeter of the base while she hooked up with my Marine in the back. And he was like, we've been here for like 8 months. I kind of want to do it. And I was like, I kind of would want to too,
right.
but probably don't. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
that's probably not a good idea.
So
So like,
wait, like someone's literally driving just like a fuck chariot and circles around a base.
yeah. and around the perimeter of the base. Like
did
there
they
are,
end up doing it?
as far as I know, they did not, because that
Yeah.
I'll tell you right now, that caper would not have gotten very far because
Really?
there's guard towers like every 10 feet. I'm pretty sure somebody been like,
They're like-
there's people fucking in that back of that fucking Jeep.
Yeah, what?
You know, I don't know
would
what the
it-
punishment would have been,
what-
but it would have
yeah,
been
what-
severe. I'm sure.
Really?
Well, you can't be doing that stuff. Like, what if she gets pregnant, or what if like there's
You have a
disease
baby
that's spread, or
soldier.
like
It's
what I mean?
great.
It's
Was,
Yeah, it's-
was the guy driving getting in a lot of trouble?
I
Only if he watches.
how would you
from the
approach
rear
that? Be
view.
like, hey, Tony,
Right.
you want to drive us around? Just maybe
Like
don't look in
in
the
a
rear view at
circle?
all. Like, yeah, around the perimeter for like, I don't know, 17, 18 minutes, depending on how
Or
I'm feeling.
seconds.
Or seconds. Yeah. After 6 months or 8 months in
Right.
Iraq, it'd be like 6.9
Wow.
milliseconds.
That's a pretty good plan, I guess. I
Me
don't
too.
know.
But yeah, no,
It's
you can't. You
Pretty
can't.
hot,
Hook up.
at least.
There was. I remember once.
Yeah, it's more
just
fun
hot.
to think
Yeah.
about than it is
Yeah.
prudent.
I don't know that would have been super comfortable for anybody because the perimeter. Saddam Hussein sadly did not take care of the perimeter roads on his air bases. So there's a,
Oh.
I mean, I don't get why the truck had to be moving. Like that seems like just
Yeah,
a way to get
couldn't we just
noticed.
get in the truck?
like
Let's
I
go
mean,
park under a tree like
Why don't
like
you-
romantics.
would they have been better off in like a stall?
yeah, exactly.
I mean, there's a number of other places I could have thought to like. The thing I wanted to say was really that's the best. That was the plan. Like that's what you hatched. I mean, there's buildings, and like you live in a little. They called them cans. They were like imagine like a quarter of a tractor trailer
But then he's like,
that was made in like a little studio apart, like a pod hotel or something. Like you could have.
Mhm.
There was a bed in it. I don't understand. Just have. Why don't you have the Marine that was driving just keep watching your can
Yeah.
and go,
because it's
fire dinner and have a nice time. I don't know. I'm
It's
just-
pretty hot.
Yeah, they might as well have been like the mounted 50 cal. Like, can we fuck on it while firing?
What the tanks where there's no tanks available.
Yeah.
Do you have like a story of like the craziest like hookup in the military that you?
Oh my god, yeah. I saw. All
What
right,
was
so
his name? Oh,
boom, boom, boom. So before I left, but my first deployment, which was 2005, I was getting ready. So I was a young lieutenant. I was getting ready to leave. I was scared shitless.
is that spelled like rapper style, like YUNG, like young lieutenant?
Like young lieutenant? I was young J, YEUNG, Yang. So yeah, so I'm scared shitless. I'm not dating anybody at the time. And I'm getting ready to leave for 8 months, and I'm like, I've convinced myself at this point I'm definitely going to die. So I was like, what am I going to do?
Did
So,
you?
oh, I'm glad the jury's still out on that one. So I go to this bar by myself. It's like a bar / club in Atlantic Beach, North Carolina, in the non-beach season.
It
So
was
it's
all
like
fellers in this bar.
so it's like me, this pothead fisherman from around the corner, and like this Russian chick waitress who was like young and hot. And so who I'm talking to the pothead fisherman, I'm talking to the waitress. The waitress, I don't know, I guess she liked the cut of my jib, whatever. Next thing I know, it's like the night before the deployment, and me and her are hooking up in my bed in my house. Obviously, I don't know why that detail left me for a second.
well, we're so established that people fucking Toyotas.
Right, well, that's true. Yeah, we weren't in the back of a pickup
You
truck.
were
right?
driving around the perimeter of the
Yeah,
bar.
my Prius was not open
Just
for business.
honking.
Honk if you like my ass. But I remember the sex was so vigorous that we started out pointing in the normal orientation on the bed, right? With our heads up by the headboard, feet by the feet board.
Okay.
And over the course of the night, we made a full 360 all the way around the bed to the point that by the time like 7 a.m. rolled around and I kicked her out of the house and then went without showering to church with my parents before my deployment,
Uh-huh.
yeah. So anyway, that was a pretty crazy.
You had to kick her out.
I never saw her again. Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, it was, it was a vigorous night of lovemaking. So everybody was a little tired and hungry at that point, and I had to go to war. So,
You're like, I
I would be like, yeah, you can hang around if you want to, but
Did you use like the I'm going to war to not wear a condom?
oh no, I definitely wore a condom because I did not know that chick very well. So, I mean, she was nice, but I didn't. I mean, she had a very thick Russian accent.
I
so
would
I'm
have
not
put on the condom and then taken it off and declared that I was going to war.
terrible. I did, however, drink her bath water, which was
There you
interesting
go.
experience. Yeah.
Mouthful of
No-
herpes.
No herpes, as far as
I
know.
like to use a condom, but then at the end pull it off and then insert the business end inside her with all the semen going inside and just go boop.
that feels.
It's just deranged.
And that's how babies get
That
made.
feels. I was going to say that
That's
feels
the-
well thought out on your part. I feel like
Right.
you have like a chart at home, and you like,
Yeah.
It's called assault.
You just hold the ring and then you go,
oh my god. I'll tell you right now, there's a baby Papa Georgia running around somewhere. You could bet on that.
I-
Well, there are guys that I guess have admitted to pulling a switch.
Oh yeah. Well, like
yeah.
you take it off or something.
Yeah, and you don't
That's
tell the girl.
friggin'
Oh,
Can you imagine being like if you were a girl and somebody did that? I would
Right.
beat you into oblivion.
Yeah, what a
I
monster.
would
Well, I don't-
destroy you.
I guess
Don't look at me with those eyes.
I wouldn't be able to pull it off because I'd just come right away. Oh my gosh, this is so much better.
I guess that's
Why was I doing the other thing?
Right. What are you talking about? Nothing.
this is what it feels
Why
like.
do you run into the bathroom?
When I was a much younger man before rape had been invented.
Oh my gosh, this does not start out well.
No, I just like I really wasn't getting there with the condom on. So like in a desperate attempt, like when someone's flatline, so you start CPRing so hard you crack their ribs. Like I pulled off the rubber just to see if getting a taste of it could keep the man.
I have
hard.
no idea what you're talking about.
I was trying to fuck with a condom on, and it was so desensitized. But I wanted to make love. I didn't want to ruin this, so I took off my condom, and then
Informed her thusly,
of course, in Morse with the blink of my eyes, and it still didn't matter. Like I still couldn't perform. And then she was like, "Hey, where's the condom?" And I just like Speedy Gonzalez out the hotel door. But we're still friends to this day, and I don't have a kid, so that makes it okay.
I thought it was
Well,
the
right.
dead guy.
it
The
didn't
way
work.
it started out.
How'd you have a kid? Magic? You said it didn't work, right?
No, it didn't.
Yeah.
No.
Well, that's not how you. I don't know if you know that. But limp penises don't produce kids.
The one time I had a legit scare was simply off pre-cum, dude. Like
That's a real thing.
that
I can-
shit
I'll try
really
to
does
explain-
happen. Yeah.
You got to explain that to the younger
You
generation.
cannot.
man.
Why do you think Catholic families are like 12 deep? Fucking pre-cum, do it.
Well, yeah, that could be it. It could also be the not pulling out
That's-
part. That could have been,
Pre-cum,
The
do
whole-
it is the debut album from Young Lieutenant.
I had a scare once when the girl told me she wasn't on the pill, and
it just sunk in.
I
It's
totally
ridiculous.
missed it. I'm thinking about all my sex, like my condom stories.
So,
I wish you just
What do
said
you
that
wanna
in like a horny retard voice. I'm thinking about all my sex. I got it up here still, and you can't take it
I'm
away.
like having
question-
flashbacks.
the question of the day: spermicide, does it work? Yes or no?
I have never used it.
I don't know that I ever. I mean, I guess you can buy it in a tube. I just always
It's like
assumed
a-
it was
it's
on
like
the
a-
condom. I don't know.
It's like a dental dam. I think it's only there for like.
Is it a pesticide?
yeah.
Does it qualify as a pesticide?
No, I think it's
Are
just.
sperm pests? I
I
don't
think
know.
it's just for like
Depends on where you're sitting.
Department of of Health, displays. Like it's like you have to have it like included, but they don't
I
ever
feel like
order enough to like give it away because no one ever uses it.
I hope it's advertised like barbecue sauce bottles. Like there's just a smiling black dude on the side of it.
oh my God.
Stubbs spermicide.
My old hospital that I worked at, they supplied dental dams. I got out a package once and was like looking at it, and I was like, "This
Isn't it just like a flat piece of latex?
It is like someone popped a balloon."
Okay, yeah.
and,
So let's dissect
it'll
that
kill a
term.
turtle.
and then
Let's
also they were
dissect-
giving away female condoms, which were interesting.
Isn't that what a dental dam is?
No.
No,
So is the term dental dam? Is it literally a
it is-
dam blocking
Yeah,
your?
it is like
mouth?
a little rubber cloth that you would put over, or that you would stretch out, and then you'd be like, "Ooh, do you have a balloon fetish?"
Like you're pulling on silly putty and just
Right.
seeing how far it can stretch. That's
Right. And then
that's a
like,
dental dam. Like you imagine you're
Can
putting
you imagine how a girl would feel if you're like, "Hold on a sec." Like,
yeah. I'm going to put a little tablecloth
I
on your
don't
pussy
want
before I
any of
dine
this.
upon it.
So I just remembered another Marine story.
Oh, right.
Nice.
So this one's quick. I do remember actually in a voracious pre-deployment. This is my second deployment. Pre-deployment sexual encounter
You're back in North Carolina.
back in North Carolina.
Mhm.
This time with a red-headed Irish woman
Wow.
Fuck you,
off
bastard.
the boat from Ireland.
You bastard.
Don't even
Oh,
think accent. I can't do an Irish accent.
Ginger.
Right.
You're gonna have to picture that one. I did not have a condom, and I tried to use a plastic grocery bag.
Yeah.
What?
Needless to say, that doesn't work. So, kids, plastic grocery bag.
Yeah,
she
does
was the
when
one.
you
it was-
fucking just push right through it and
well,
bang
she
'em
was
raw,
the
dog.
she was the one who was like, oh, we could try this, and I was like, oh, that does make sense. It's a dam of sorts, but it didn't. It
fucking-
broke immediately. So
Oh, the fucking Irish. Really?
It was
I'm
crafty, man. She grabbed it right out. I think it was a 7-Eleven bag, as I recall.
a plastic bag. Whoa, I don't care. I don't care. She's a ginger.
female
At
condom
worst, she could be a 7.
Looks when you pull it out, it looks like a hamster tube.
Habit trail for the pussy.
Now, wait. So, what is it? That's a female condom, you're saying?
Yeah, so it's like a
It's like a sperm trap, isn't it? That basically that's what that is.
It's
He
like
said
a
female condom, not my face.
It is like a latex PVC pipe,
Oh, nice.
kind of.
So they just
And it
they,
has
they
like
swim
it has
through
like
or
straps,
Yeah.
right?
does it have like
So
lights on the
ribbed.
inside? Or
It lights.
is it like a tunnel for the like?
Yeah,
hey,
pretty
this
much.
way.
does it
Yeah.
not like
It has a catcher.
it needs like an external
does have a
thing to hold it
yeah.
in place, right? Or no?
Well,
Because
it's
otherwise you're just
held
gonna-
by the structure of the vagina.
Is really?
Yeah.
Oh, so you put like a rubber cement on the sides of your vaginal
It's
walls
basically,
before
I
putting
guess
it in?
It's like it'd be like stuffing in a sock.
Well, can I say the obvious? Is it like stuffing in a condom that doesn't have a penis in it? I mean, is that basically what it is?
kind of, yeah.
It's like a
guess
big
that's
old
the same
windsock,
principle.
yeah.
But it's
If I
bigger.
were selling this, I would probably go with that to sell it rather than
Yeah.
like- it's like stuffing in a sock. I
And the-
can't
and the
sell any
benefit-
of these.
the benefit, the benefit ultimately is to who? It feels better for the man, but I can't
Yeah.
imagine.
I guess it, and maybe it feels better for the. If any of the women out there are using female condoms, call in.
Call it
1-900 Papa George's ball sack.
Loveline, Ricky Rackman edition.
You guys remember that show? You remember that show, Loveline?
Oh, yeah.
No, I just said those words. What does it mean?
I mean, you remember being like a teenager and being like, oh
I
shit,
am
that's
a huge Dr. Drew fan.
Dr. Drew's the man.
I've seen him in person.
Yeah,
Is that right?
Yeah,
He's a nice guy.
I didn't meet him. I just saw him. Like a friend. I went to LA in the infancy of this podcast. I had a listener, a really attractive blonde girl, and I had bitched about wanting to move to LA because so much has changed in my life. I just
Right.
talk about cities I'm going to do comedy in and then never do it. So she was like, hit me up. She's like, yeah, why don't you just come and crash with me and we'll do LA for a week? I was like, shit, yeah. Her brother was in rehab, and she's like, yeah, it's Dr. Drew's rehab. And we just drove by one time, and Dr. Drew pulls up and gets out. She's like, there's Dr. Drew. I'm like, there he be.
Watering the lawn.
Yeah, exactly. He was doing some of the stucco on the side. Yeah.
I wonder how you end up being an actual physician and then
There's a
becoming
school
Dr.
for it.
Drew. No, but like being an actual physician and then becoming Dr. Drew. Are you like,
he must get.
are you a super good doctor and then you end up being like
Yeah.
Dr. Drew? I feel
No,
like maybe
you're
not,
a
right?
fucking fame whore.
You're like probably not that good at doctor, right? You know what I mean?
every place he goes now? People are probably like, I have this little kind of thing that is on the side of my.
Yeah.
Who is that? AIDS.
It was him and Adam Carolla, wasn't it?
Yeah. Adam.
It started
Carolla.
with Ricky Rackman as well.
Did it really?
Yeah,
somebody
and
else at
then
first.
Corolla
Didn't
and
he used
Rackman
to
beefed.
host Headbangers?
Headbangers
Ball?
fucking ball, man. Yeah. Ricky Rackman's had a weird and storied career. He then became like a NASCAR host.
They were probably like, you should host this new sex talk show that we have.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm still getting over the
And then
mixing.
they were
of-
like, Ricky, you're asking too many questions.
can a porn star give you herpes?
I drank some, dear Dr. Drew, I drank some bath water and now my throat itches.
Sincerely, your
inside.
co-host.
Like he's just in the audience.
God.
Ask this.
Bath
Can the-
water. Ugh.
Band Poison actually give you poison?
Oh, God.
Did Motley Crue fuck my wife?
Did people call in or did they how did they
They called in
They
and
called
then they
in?
had a live
Well,
studio audience.
it
Right?
was-
a radio show.
It was two different. Yeah, exactly. The big
Mm.
thing, it was a radio show out of K Rock in LA, and it was syndicated to HFS, like when we were kids. And I
Oh,
remember
yeah,
not
yeah,
listening to it, but it was like a nighttime show.
Yeah, I remember
and
being on
I got my taste of it via MTV, and they always had like a really cute like assistant
right.
who would go into the audience and just like Ricky Rackman, get poison, give me poison.
Do you guys remember in that same time frame, like late 90s, mid to late 90s, do you guys remember the late night commercials for like the early
Girls Gone
boner
Wild.
pills or like and
Oh.
there'd be like some smoking hot chick and then like some dude pretending to be a doctor, and then some clueless dude that was like, "What? No way! This will give me a and the
I actually
hot chick would
remember
just
this.
be,
No.
you don't remember that? And it'd be like a fake panel discussion, and they'd be
No.
like,
Sorry
they'd
to
be like,
bore you.
they'd be like, "Hey, hot chick,
Yeah.
what's your biggest beef in life?" And she'd be like, "My boyfriend's penis doesn't get hard." And they just and then they talk to the guy in the end, and they're like, "What's your biggest problem?" He's like, "My penis doesn't get hard." And they're like, "We've got this purple pill you can buy at the cashier at 7-Eleven.
Right.
It's gonna change your whole life." And she's
Shit.
like, "What?" I think it was called Extends. I even remember the name.
I think
It's
they
like
still sell
Extends or
that.
something. Yeah, they probably
Shit,
do.
I remember the name Extends. I just don't remember that ad
Yeah.
campaign.
And it was always like shipping and processing. Get your first order free. And it was like in the bottom, something about auto renew program or something.
Oh,
Like
really?
you
No.
agree to a shipment every week or something
A
like.
lifetime
I just-
supply.
I
Unbelievable.
remember watching so much Howard Stern E-channel shit, and every commercial was girls going wild. And like to this day, if I hear a fucking kettle drum, I just get an erection, like just all Pavlovian conditioned.
Was that the soundtrack?
Yeah, it was always like, dude,
Oh, a kettle drum. I
Yeah.
was thinking about.
You're thinking
like,
the timpani drum, weren't you?
or the symphony.
The kettle. That's the.
beginning of Flight of the
I
Valkyries.
think.
yeah.
Wait. I think that was wrong. Yeah, it is a kettle drum. I think. What's
Right.
the steel
Steel
drum?
drum, steel drum.
It's not a kettle drum. You fucking.
You're the
A snare
banana.
drum.
Oh my god.
It's like the Beethoven.
Civil War
Fifth is
reenactors
about
make me
to-
come. Yeah.
Today on Papa's Basement, Joe Gagliardi recounts an improv sketch. Michael Johnson struggles to find a quote,
Right.
Yeah.
and we go back and forth about the meaning of the kettle drum.
Yeah. John listens to a steel drum while coming in the mouth of a transsexual.
God. Classic stuff, man.
Yeah.
Classic times on the Papa's Basement.
Yeah, it was
Podcast.
freeing,
Yeah, it was.
liberating,
I
really.
feel good. I feel good.
Brave is the word.
Yeah.
Hashtag brave.
I think
Hashtag
so.
our truth.
Yeah, got to work it out. Some deep stuff, man. It got real. It got funny. You know.
It got confusing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It
The
got.
the new kids come on the side of the bus stop.
So was that a real scandal? Did somebody in the new
that
kids
was an
like,
urban
what?
legend. That was it. One of them.
It dated back to like Rod Stewart barfing jizz at a party. Like, and then it just, you would insert the star du jour.
I just
I
like
don't
the
remember
fact.
that.
I just like the fact that doesn't matter how famous you are. If you barf, people are going to go through it.
Of course,
Yeah.
yeah. Like the way the National Enquirer will go through your
We were at this
trash.
party and Rod Stewart barfed, and there was semen in it. It'd be
We
like,
had
what
a-
were you doing?
We
when
had a
someone barfed?"
vomitologist at a party, like we do every Hollywood party.
Luckily, my friend's dad is a vomitologist.
But who ensured the chain of custody on the vomit so that there was no infiltration of
Oh, you mean like
Of-
someone
of
collected
outside-
it
of
and then
outside
just
vomit.
jerked off? in
outside,
it?
right? Like maybe somebody's turned on by vomit and they just came in. And
That
like,
is,
oh my
you know
God.
what? That is a.
That's
good le-
actually what Rod Stewart's lawyer said.
That's a good legal defense. Is like, there are too many people. This vomit passed through too many hands. Who knows who jerked off in it? I'm not saying that is semenless vomit. I'm just saying.
It's not a reasonable assumption,
right,
right?
and that it's not an unreasonable.
What somewhere it's in the ether. It's somewhere.
Well,
in
that
between. It's in
the
matrix.
person that collected it may have jerked off, or person that took it, and I guess
I
put
think-
it in a
I think there
safe
was a-
somewhere.
There was a second jerker on the grassy knoll.
Oh, yeah.
That's what it was. The Zapruder film, the Zaspooger film.
That's why you never know the identity of the person on the grassy knoll.
yeah.
'Cause they just went and all they found.
Someone
was
just jacked off on the film.
they just found semen and they're like, we can't tell this to people.
We don't know. Who, we don't know who
It
It was
left this
actually
here.
vomit that had semen in it.
Who was there? Don't
That was the beginning of the legend. The
don't
guy in the grassy
It
knoll.
was Rod Stewart.
don't.
That was his cover. He was Rod Stewart in disguise in a parking lot in Dallas
This
in
young
1960.
British
whatever the hell it was,
kid.
63.
This young British kid with these pock marks on his neck.
Fired off 3 headshots, then vomited semen onto his chest.
Right as Oswald took his first shot. It was a convergent of events.
Today,
Did I
Papa
hear a little deaf Christopher Walken?
It was the convergence of events. That was my deaf Christopher.
you
Walken.
gotta vomit. See, I can't go.
That sounded like Christopher Walken with a sinus infection.
I've got a fever.
And the
That's
only
only
prescription is vomiting out the semen.
You gotta evacuate.
My body's rejecting the semen.
You sound like
Cut it.
Harry Carey
Yeah, I
doing
know.
an impression of Christopher Walken.
I'm not trying to walk.
if it ain't too much semen, would you throw it up in a basketball game?
Or would you leave it in your tummy because it's so delicious? I know.
I know I would. Hey, if the moon was made out of semen, would you vomit it?
If you shot President Kennedy, would you vomit all the delicious semen in your tummy, or would you keep it down?
Wow, this is derailed.
It's just gone right off the. I'm pretty sure we can safely say that at 9:37, no one is 90 minutes into this baby. Everybody's checked off. You know, checked off, checked out.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Sure. If that's what we're gonna do.
I won't bring the music in.
No, that made it official. You killed it.
He
This
killed it.
sounds like a video game.
It is Street Fighter 2.
Is it really?
Yeah, it's the ending credit
think you
music
told
to
me
Street
that.
Fighter.
Do you have
2.
the test your might? Do you have that one? Test your strength.
No, I'm not fucking
So
jukebox
this
over
is
here.
what is it? Twitch episode might sound like.
Yeah, exactly. Like if we
We're
were playing
over
an
here
old Super
playing
NES
Street
game.
Fighter.
Yeah, we're gonna do it on 8 stars and 10 speed turbo. We're gonna take Dalsim unhit through the M Bison fight.
Is that, what
Dulsum
you,
fire.
is that what you have to say at the top?
No,
No.
I mean, you could.
I think you can be as focused as this podcast was.
Okay.
Yeah.
I might have to go home and play Twitch.
What if I barf cum during my Twitch stream?
Papa's Basement brought to you by Ritalin.
Yes.
Pretty much.
Before we do an outro, I want to say R.I.P. to Rip Torn, man. Rip Torn
yeah.
died. I
What?
fucking loved Rip Torn. In my 20s, right after my dad died, that's English. Right after my dad died, I glommed on to 3 father figures in my life, and they were Arnold Schwarzenegger, Johnny Cash, and Rip Torn.
Wow.
And
That
now
is
we're
a-
down to 1.
I'd like to see those 3
Have sex.
now, like
What
in
was-
some sort of movie.
Rip Torn's claim to fame.
This is Rip Torn.
He was in
If
Larry
you came in my
Sanders'
mouth.
Larry Sanders show. He was
He was Artie, and I
what was
idolized
he,
his
his
Artie.
manager or
He was the producer of the show,
okay.
and then he also played Tom Green's dad in Freddie Got Fingered. He was Freddie's dad.
He was
Okay,
in,
No,
okay,
he was in
okay.
Dodgeball too.
Yeah, that's true. He was the
He
dude in
was
the wheelchair.
also
Was he the old guy in Dodgeball?
Yeah,
He
the
was
one in the
also
wheelchair.
on-
your dodgeball.
he was on TMZ a couple times before in the past few years for getting drunk and belligerent.
Hey, it's me. I drank too much beer and cum. I'm Rip Torn.
What was his actual? Was his actual name Rip Torn?
Yeah.
'Cause that's
Well, and
incredible.
Rip was a nickname. Yeah, but-
Obviously, right.
yeah.
I'm sure his parents were like.
It
"Our last
was
name
like
is
Doug
Torn."
Tract.
sister words.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, I fucking idolized, especially the role of Artie. Like, if you listen to the intro clip, or I'm sorry, the outro clip, which I have to replay this. But as soon as we end any episode, that's fucking Rip Torn talking.
Where?
You'll hear it in like 5 seconds when we end the episode. But
okay.
I wanted to thank you guys. If you wanted to plug
Thank
your
you.
social media, anything,
you
Michael Johnson.
can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Michael MIKAEL John.
You have like a stripper spelling,
something like
Sorry.
that. I don't.
and thus the
I
friendship
don't
ended.
post. I don't know. I post pretty sporadically now.
You need to do more. This guy doesn't do social media at all. He's all like fucking in his head about it. He's like, he acts like Twitter and Insta or Facebook. He's like, bah, I hate that. Like, I know all these dudes that made it. I'm like, so don't interact with people on Facebook and just do Twitter and get comedy people to follow you and be funnier than them.
You can
You'll
just
feel
get
good
to
about
my
yourself.
point, resign that you're never gonna make it, and then
That was
it
a
makes
poor.
it easier.
That was a poor representation of what I said. What I said was all these guys that made more money
Yeah.
than not made it. I made it. You know what's it? It's like
Yeah.
sexiness. It's relative.
It's getting a lot of cum in my mouth.
I got the it. I got a
That's how I
I got a-
define
I got a
success.
2008 Infinity G37 outside, buddy. You gonna beat that? I drive a Dodge Stratus. Remember that one?
I don't.
I drive it. It's a Will Ferrell sketch.
Oh, okay.
Obscure SNL references. But no, I'm not on. I'm on social media, but I'm not. You're not gonna care.
Okay.
People out there, not you. I mean the audience is not gonna care about my social
No,
media.
I
I'm
think the
doing-
4 people that were gonna follow
I
already
will
did.
eventually.
Yeah.
I will eventually.
Everyone, this was Papa's Basement. If you liked it, find us on iTunes, find us on YouTube, Stitcher. What the fuck else are we on? I don't know. All the droid apps that do
Twitch.
podcasts. Yeah, Twitch stream. Where we drink cum while watching Super Mario.
Bumble.
And
I think we should do that.
yeah, I'm at Papa's Basement on everything. And again, thanks you guys.
Thank you,
and
buddy.
Thank you to Rip Torn for his tireless service as my outro for these past 12
Yeah.
years.
We're home free. School's out, baby.
Good show?
Nothing to talk about, nothing to critique. Great show, great guests tomorrow. You go home, have a glass of wine, whack off. I'll see you tomorrow.
That's the post-show critique?
Yeah, you're the best.
It's my time to go. I successfully burned all my bridges. Nobody loves me, and I don't love nobody.
Then he said penis.
Yeah. Then he said masturbation.
Then he said vagina. That was cool.
Had a mighty hard time, but I'm on my way. Had a mighty hard time, but I'm on my way. It's a mighty hard climb.